Live now. Okay, we're gonna give people a minute to log on and get situated for another beautiful week on Wealth Wednesdays. So hold on, I need to get into my Robinhood. Let's see what we got here. All right. Um, okay, we don't have. Okay, people are starting to tune in. People starting to tune in. All right. Big up Melissa Carroll. Um, we got some tools for you all today to make this whole figuring out the stocks and your return a lot easier. Instead of having to pull out the calculator and do the calculations the old way, I have a dollar cost averaging calculator now that we can just start running simulations. When people see these numbers, it's going to be quite instructive.
Hold on, brother. You said you had a dollar cost calculator.
I do. Yes, I
Uh,
do.
Tell me about that, man.
Okay. So they have tools online that you can literally run in certain, and I'm going to give you all examples. So the tools that you have online, you can have a dollar cost average calculator. This is very important. It's hard to do. I've been doing estimations,
Right.
using my own mathematical understandings, but it's very hard to do it because the price of stocks can fluctuate daily, monthly, yearly. So what I would do is I would kind of take the average of averages and
Right.
say, okay, if you invested in Nvidia, or if you invested in IBM, or you invested in, um, let's say, Amazon, since 2015 till now, what I would do is I would take whatever the price was in 2015 and the price now, and then I would take the median price, and then have the amount of money that you might have invested over that time as almost like a lump sum of money. But I would take, if you're doing $500 a month for 10 years, then I would just take 500 times 12 for a year. You get what I'm saying? Which is 6,000, and then multiply that by, let's just say 10 years, right? So that's 60,000. So I would take that multiplied by whatever the stock price median is. It's not accurate. It's just giving you a sense of what the money would be. But I have an exact calculator now. I'm going to show you all where to get it. And then you can start running your own simulations. And what it does is it teaches you um, what could have been if you knew this information. This is something that I've been doing with Bitcoin and Tesla, and it worked out very well for me. So I'm just showing you all that we're at a new juncture of disruption, which is AI, which Brother Red Pill knows all about. And it's just changing everything. And most of the productivity of the economy is going to be done by AI, which means that most of the growth is going to be AI. And so what we're doing is we're going to actually do the calculations, and we're going to juxtapose that with some of these AI stocks that we're dollar cost averaging right now. So you would look at AI stocks or AI related stocks as um, IPOs in a sense, because you might have companies like Intel or AMD. They're in much more demand now, and so they're actually going to be starting in their growth in a lot of ways, like what's happening with SanDisk because of the demand for compute space, which is microchips and memory. So when we use, as we call, first principles thinking, we look at the mutable truths and what is the limiting factors. When we talk about AI, the limiting factors for AI is memory, which is compute space, and also electricity. So any companies that are related to AI in terms of energy and compute space, which is solving those two limiting factors, are going to have um, the growth that we're looking for. And what is the growth that we're looking for? Let's just put it in numbers. It's always important to talk numbers. The growth that we're looking for is 10x within 5 to 10 years. So whenever we're investing, this is not get rich quick. This is get rich slowly. There are other ways to get rich faster, which would be using stock options and also doing forex. However, it does come with um, some negatives, which is that you can lose your money. You can actually go to zero with stock options, and you can go to zero with forex because you can get stopped out. But dollar cost average is typically the safest way to get wealthy. And what you're doing is, irrespective of price, you're choosing a mover. Um, you choose the industry that's the mover, and then you choose the top companies within that space. And what you do is you religiously, whether it's weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, you put money into it, and what you do is you accumulate these stocks over time, irrespective of what the price is. So you don't care about the price fluctuations, and you're actually happy when the price goes down because it allows you to buy more shares per dollar. So dollar cost averaging, what we're going to do today, we're just going to look at some of these. We're not going to take too long today. I got some mango trees I got to plant, so I got to get back into the orchard and start, getting my hands dirty this morning. But this isn't going to be a 3 hour show like we've done in the past. But what I want to do is show people the tools that they can use and start looking at these numbers. Okay, and it's going to be very, very instructive as to how you need to move forward. So we've got enough people tuned in. Big up to all of the listeners on Know the Ledger. Big up to all the listeners on Know the Ledge Media. Big up to all the listeners on WSYP 95.1, the powerful Sankofa Revolutionary Radio. Big up to all of the people watching me right now on Facebook. Big up to all the people watching on my YouTube channel, which has been resurrected. Um, of course, they love to ban me because I say things that they don't like. I don't care. We have our own properties whenever we want. We can go to HERUtrades.com, which you see under my name on the screen, and we can go live there as well. That's a site that I control 100%. We can go to Sankofa Revolutionary Radio's website, which is controlled 100%, and we can also move to Red Pill's Patreon, which we do on Mondays. Just for a little housekeeping for the people who tune in on Monday. What we did on Monday was we covered autoimmune illnesses, right? And we went over the Coimbra protocol. So anyone who has, let's say, any autoimmune disease in terms of lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, Hashimoto's, Graves' disease, Jorgen's disease, Crohn's disease, any of these diseases, we covered extensively the mechanisms of action and how people have been getting results with the Coimbra protocol. The week before, we went over Dr. Alan McDonald's work, where he was able to see nematode parasites in the cerebral spinal fluid of multiple sclerosis patients. And we shared where you can see that on YouTube. So those of you all who might have missed Monday's show, we always have to leave YouTube whenever we do the health talks, because that's what they're sensitive to banning. If you missed it, I believe that Brother Anthony played reruns during the week. And then also Red Pill through his Patreon has the show as well. And the show is still on my Facebook. It lasts on the Facebook page for about 2 weeks till it gets deleted. So if you are somebody who has a family member or yourself has some type of autoimmune illness, it would behoove you to go and get those videos and sit down and watch them, because I think it could be life-saving and life-changing information in terms
Yes.
of a way that you can actually solve this problem. Okay.
You definitely went in, you solved it, you gave solutions, you played the video, dropped a lot of information. It was almost like a college class that we was in. So I double that, I second that motion. Make sure y'all tap in. The information is life-changing. It's on Patreon and it's on his website. So please take advantage of it. Too hot
Absolutely.
for YouTube, but definitely life changing for everybody who gets in touch. And you can send it to your loved ones and your friends, family, coworkers, etc.
Absolutely. I mean, the bottom line is that if something's not working, you've been seeing people, professionals who are supposed to deal with this problem, and they tell you you're going to have this problem for the rest of your life. Or they tell you that you got to take these, medications for the rest of your life. You might want to start looking at different alternatives because, as they say, you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, right? So, what we're doing is we're providing people with scientific evidence, we're giving people testimonials, and we're giving people a protocol. I don't think you can do any more than that. We're going to keep doing it. And I will be in England giving a lecture on autoimmune disease and cancer, high blood pressure, and diabetes, as I just did in Richmond this weekend. I will be in London, England, on giving a lecture on the 11th of July. So I look forward to that, to the England Massive. And then what we'll do is someone's asking me if I can come to France to do a lecture as well. I might. My French is okay. It's not too good. Peut-être. So we'll see. And that just means maybe, perhaps, I'll go to France and give a lecture and see if I can resurrect some of my French. We'll see. But after that, I might go to Africa. I'll go to the continent, or I might just come back to the States, depending on what's happening. But yeah, the month of July, I'll be traveling a little bit. And big up to everyone who's tuned in internationally. If you are interested in me coming to your country to talk about health, definitely let me know. I travel worldwide, whether it's South America, the Caribbean, Africa, Europe. Just let me know. We can arrange it and we can do a lecture. If not, I can always do a lecture by Zoom. So just tell people, go ahead and go to herbalresults.net. Go to testimonials page just to start off with, and you will see a whole bunch of videos on people who've had cancer reversals, a whole bunch of videos of people who've had high blood pressure, diabetes reversals, epileptic seizure reversals, so forth and so on. So I just want to do a little housekeeping for people. Let me see something. All right. So, brother Anthony, brother Red Pill, let me get your comments on what you all been seeing in terms of what we're doing with this wealth information. What type of comments you're getting from people? How has it enhanced your life in any way? What type of moves are you all making?
It definitely put me on the right path. It got me into capturing some of this wealth that was being created over the past 30 days. I'm running into people at festivals. Like I'm literally running in because I haven't been outside for a few months. I've been hibernating. So now that I'm outside, I'm running into people in real life, IRL, and they're telling me how their investments have, created a cushion for them. Once a person gets on a path and things start working out, it's just really about compounding it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of compounding taking place. Uh, Once you lock, they just locked in. They're like, look, I'm just investing. I'm waiting for more information. So yeah.
Excellent.
Um, there is also a lot of people that don't know what we've been doing, and that's also kind of crazy. There's a lot of people on this platform that haven't tapped in, and they missed out on some of the opportunities. But I'm gonna do a little more promotion on my end to to put it in front of the Melanin Monday crowds and things of that nature. I gotta like promote inside my own platforms because there's a lot, it's media, so there's different niches that we provide.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
brother Anthony.
I see my brother's asking about how can we find out about the London session, man. You want to comment on that? You want to answer that question, brother?
I sure will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you all the flyer. I'm gonna share with you all the flyer.
Right.
The London session should be historic. Apparently, from the conversations I've had with some folks on the ground, there are people who have been using the protocol for cancer. We have over 10 reversals in the last few months, and they will be attending the lecture and sharing their stories. And it's really about show and prove, like giving people receipts. And so this is the lecture flyer. I'll be posting it on my Facebook and my other social media destinations such as X and Instagram. You just, go to HERU OFORI ATTA on Facebook and you'll see the information. But can you all see this?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, so it is Saturday, July 10th. July 11th, sorry. And it starts at noon. We'll be starting at noon sharp, and the door opens at 11:30 a.m. And of course, it has myself as an illness reversal engineer. That's what I refer to myself as. And the group that's bringing me is called Global Legacy Builders, a very, very serious group of people who are about global legacy for our people and solving a lot of these health problems that are really, really shackling our people down. And the title is The Path to Eradicating Cancer and Autoimmune Disease. And we're going to not only be doing cancer and autoimmune disease, we're going to be spending a lot of time on that, but we'll also be covering not only just cancers and tumors, high blood pressure, diabetes, kidney failure, and then other autoimmune disorders. Okay. The place where it's going to be held is at the Doubletree by Hilton in London, Kensington, on 100 Cromwell Road, London, SW7 4ER. Okay. And those of you all who are interested in getting more information and buying tickets online, you go to globallegacybuilders.paperform.co. That's globallegacybuilders.paperform.co. And the phone number to contact if you are in England, you're going to dial 077-677-91435. Tickets are selling very, very quickly. I haven't even started promoting this on my Facebook, but Global Legacy Builders, the promoters, they've been promoting it, and it's a pretty big venue, but they say it's like 50% sold out already. And the lecture isn't until another 2 weeks or so. So we're expecting it to be standing room only. A lot of people in England are suffering from these diseases. England's climate is not conducive to tropical people. And so, we can already see that most people in England have vitamin D deficiency. And particularly if you're of any type of African descent and you've got darker skin, you're going to have these vitamin D deficiencies in these northern climates. And so we're going to break it all down. We will have, people have asked me as well, we will have product there. Global Legacy Builders is an official distributor of herbal results. They bought a whole lot of product to prepare for that day so that they don't sell out that day. They've been selling product ever since the last couple of weeks since the order was shipped in, and they got the order from customs. So they've got, a lot of product available for people to buy in England, and they're going to be the main distributor in England. And so you can contact Global Legacy Builders at the phone number and at the website that I shared with you all. And you can just come to the lecture and meet them. And we're going to have, like I said, live testimonials of people who have benefited from the products and the protocols, particularly cancer reversals. So we should have a good time in London. It'll be my first time in London, but, I've been really studying British history for a long time, and then the history of Black folks in England as well, particularly Brixton. So I look forward to seeing my people there. There'll be a heavy contingent of the Nation of Islam there as well, because the organizers with Global Legacy Builders are also associated with the Nation of Islam. And so we're going to have some serious folks there dealing with this health issue. So I look forward to that lecture. I believe I'll be in Atlanta in August as well. I believe that will be August 15th, giving a lecture. So Atlanta Massive. I'll see you all then. We had that conversation yesterday with the promoters. So that's a little housekeeping for y'all. So, that's Mondays when we deal with health. Now, let's get back to this money. Okay. All right. So let's get into dollar cost averaging of these stocks. So probably the best way to do it is to give you all a listing of, we'll go again with a listing of the stocks that I am dollar cost averaging. And what I'm doing is every week there's money taken from my account to purchase stock. And I suggest that anyone who's interested just follow the same thing, right? And the people who tune into this show, you all get like definite gems that people just aren't getting. And so what I've identified is I've identified 5 or 6 stocks that I believe are going to explode in the next 5 to 10 years. And so I'm dollar cost averaging. And what that is that every week I have money taken out of my account. And to me, the formula is this, is that whatever money you're making, I believe that you should take at least 20% of that money and invest it. So if you're making $1,000 a week, you should take $200 a week and invest that money and keep that discipline and keep doing it. And what happens is that you start developing a huge nest egg, a lot of wealth. So what are the companies? Let's go into some of these companies. Y'all ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's get it.
All right. So we're going to share the Robinhood screen. And these are the companies. We'll start with Micron.
Yep, good one to start with.
Yeah.
Nice little entry point, I think, right?
Well, I mean,
no?
as they say, the best time to plant a tree is, 20 years ago. With these AI stocks, it would have been a year ago.
Right.
But we're just starting, really, in terms of it blasting off. It's still on the runway, y'all. And so if we look at Micron, I started my dollar cost averaging a little bit over a month ago. So we're actually watching this. You all are going to see this in real time. And so every week we're going to give you all updates as to how these stocks are doing that we've chosen. So today, Micron is up 0.58%. In the last week, it's been up 0.4%. In the last month, it's been up 18%. It means I've made 18% on my money from last month. 3 months ago, it's been up 163%. And look at this upward slope that it's doing, right? And then since January, which is year to date, it's up 257%. That's how much your money would have grown. And in the last year, it's up 745%, which is an amazing year, right? So that's Micron. And the way you do it on Robinhood is you just go to buy order type, and then you go to recurring investment. You click that, and then you just put in the amount that you want to invest. Wait, hold on a second. Give me a second, y'all. All right, sorry. So you got Micron right there, and year to date, 700%, which means you do 8.5x your money. If you put in $1,000, you'd have $8,500 in the past year. Okay, $10,000, you'd have $85,000. Okay, $100,000, you'd have $850,000 right now. Okay, so this is very important to understand this. Now, Micron's not even the best performing. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple others. And once we see these numbers, we start understanding what we're looking at when we start to back test dollar cost averaging with other stocks that have grown tremendously because they were disruptors as well. So we're going to go to Western Digital. Western Digital is another stock that I am dollar cost averaging. Western Digital is down today, but in the last week, it is up. It is down also. Now, am I upset that it's down? No.
No.
I'm happy that it's down because I'm getting it at a cheaper price now.
That's right. That's
Okay.
Right.
So I'm let's just say I'm doing $100 a week with Western Digital. Now I'm able to buy more of the stock.
Right.
Okay. So let's go to the month. In the month, we're up 24%. In 3 months, we're up 123%. In the last 6 months, which is January, we are up 270%, right?
Mhm.
That's a 3.7x.
Right.
And year, we're up almost 1,000%, which is a 10x in 1 year, y'all. Okay? This is a big deal. And like I said, you would just dollar cost average by going to where it says order type. You're going to go to recurring investment. And then you're going to put in whatever it is. Let's say you want to do $20. You put in 20. You can start today. And then the frequency, you can decide you want to do $20 a week, $20 every 2 weeks, $20 a month. I know someone who's dollar cost averaging every day. Every day, I just talked to the brother. We were talking, chopping it up. This is a brother that I'm very close with, and he owns restaurants. And one of these, he's dollar cost averaging $20 a day. So every day, money's taken out of his account, and he's doing $20 a day. I do weekly. He does daily, right? And what he's doing is just accumulating. So you can do every day, you can do every week, every 2 weeks, every month, okay? And then you can then put in how much, where you want it to come from, your buying power within your Robinhood account or your bank account. So you go to back up there and then you click for your accounts, okay? These are my accounts here. And so I have 2 bank accounts that I have connected. And so it'll just draw from that if I don't have any money in my Robinhood account, that's spare money. And so I don't have to do anything. It executes the orders while I'm sleeping. Okay? All right. 1 year, 10x, Western Digital. So of course, we're very serious about Western Digital. All right.
For Brother HERU,
Yes.
some of the new traders and investors out there, for them, I know they can subscribe to you, but what are they looking for in these companies when they do their research on companies? Explain what you're doing. What are you looking for to determine whether to put your money?
There? What we're doing is we are going to simplify this whole thing because there are going to be a lot of people who are into stocks. Right. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to complicate this thing for you. Let me stop sharing the screen. All right, what they're going to do is complicate it for you. So what they're going to do is they're going to tell you, oh, you need to look at their earnings reports and, look at, certain filings that they did over time and PE ratios. They're going to use all of this little slick talk.
Right.
What we're doing is, because as Red Pill know, we're in the age of AI. What I do is, number one, so this is the first way to do it. You think about the history of technology and what technology is about. This is what you call first principles thinking.
Right.
Technology is always about making things easier, cheaper, more efficient, and more convenient for human beings. That's what technology is. Since the beginning of time, since the wheel was invented, right? The wheel was more efficient, more convenient, all of that, right? Cheaper, and it made things easier for human beings to actually go from A to B and also to transport goods, right? Okay, so you look at the wheel, and then you start looking at different technological advancements. And so I always use the example of the automobile versus horse and buggies, right? The automobile was clearly disruptive because in the transportation industry, it is more convenient, more efficient, and it checks all those boxes. So when something checks all those boxes, it's going to be what they call disruptive. What we mean is that it's going to change transportation as we know it, right? So understand that history in the future always moves towards advancement in technology, right? We used to have stairs to go upstairs. Then we had elevators that were manually operated. Then we have automated elevators now, right? And so if you understand that, you knew that the elevator was going to be disruptive in terms of building architecture, where if you're going to build a, 50-story building, are you going to walk up the stairs? You're going to take an elevator. Well, in the past, you'd have to walk up the stairs, but now we have elevators, invented whatever in the 1960s or whatever. And so anyone who was looking at that would know that the elevators are going to be disruptive in terms of traveling up and down a building. Okay. And then you had the porter who was, the elevator operator who's operating the elevator. And then you have automated elevators. We no longer need a porter. You no longer need a human being operating it. You just press the button and it takes you there automatically. Anyone watching that would know that this is more convenient, this is more efficient, and what have you. And so once you start understanding what to look for in the future, then you understand what is disruptive and what is not. It's a good question that you ask, because I want to give people a framework to think about these things. Because what happens is that you think that, people who pick stocks are like gurus or whatever. No, they just have a way of thinking about these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so very simply, you identify what is the disruptor of the day.
Right.
Well, Bitcoin was a disruptor in finance, in the financial world, in terms of delivery of value and money. It's disruptive to the concept of money, digital money, as something that is a better way to actually hold value than gold. Gold has a lot of problems in terms of being a store of value. Bitcoin was a better store of value than gold, because gold, it's hard to actually transport gold, from one part of the world to the next part of the world. There's a lot of things you have to go through to do it. And there's a lot of security involved and all this, but I can send the same amount of value of gold in Bitcoin to Phil, whether I'm in the Philippines or whether I'm in Singapore or whether I'm in the Congo or whether I'm in, Durban, South Africa. I can send that to him automatically with very little fees. And so it solves a huge problem that gold cannot solve. And so when I read the Bitcoin white paper, I knew that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was going to be disruptive to the world of money. But this is after I understood what money really was. And so I took a year to study money. And that year was a very rewarding year, because I understood why people are rich and why other people are not. And so I invested in Bitcoin very early in 2011 when it was under $100. Well, I was able to identify another disruptor, which was the electric vehicle industry and the leader of that. And so what you do is you identify disruptive technologies and industries, and you pick the leaders within the disruption. So in the 1920s, the automobile is going to be disruptive. You pick the leader, which was Ford,
Mm-hmm.
and you invest in that. General Motors, all that, you invest in the leaders, because they're the ones delivering most of the value to the new customers. That's why they're the leaders. Well, we knew that the retail industry was going to be disrupted when you saw Amazon being responsible for shutting down bookstores, right? And then Jeff Bezos was smart enough to realize that he wasn't in the book selling business. He's in the retail business. So if you can deliver a book to someone's house, you can deliver a microwave to someone's house. You can deliver a TV to someone's house. You can deliver any type of retail goods to someone's house. So now, instead of going to the mall comes to you. It's a disruptive business. We saw the same thing with Blockbuster and Netflix. Netflix changes how people view content. It makes it more efficient, it's easier, and it checks those 4 boxes that I talked about. Anything that checks those boxes, you're going to look at seriously. Well, AI is more disruptive than any of those things that we talked about in terms of its transformative nature, because it's the first time that we've had technology that can teach itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know like how much to state how serious that is of a disruption,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
You got technology that can teach itself without human intervention. This is the first time in human history that we've had that, which is going to actually take labor to zero. And this is going to be a world that we just haven't seen before. Imagine all of these technologies in one: telephone, internet, TV, radio, electric vehicles, um, Amazon, Google, all in one times 100. That's what AI is in terms of its disruption.
Yep.
Okay? Red Pill is very clear on that. So then, if you know that something disruptive is happening right under your nose, what do? You do the same thing you'd have done when the automobile was introduced over horse and buggies. Those people who lost and did not make wealth were the people who stuck with the horse and buggy industry because they didn't realize they were in the transportation industry. They thought they were in the horse and buggy industry. So those people who don't use AI, you're not going to be competitive in filmmaking, in legal, in medicine, in engineering, in architecture, all of that. AI is able to do the job better than human beings. And the gap is widening, I'd say, by an order of magnitude, probably every month. Okay. So this is very serious. This is the opportunity now to invest. So I'm investing in the top AI companies. And how did I identify them? Answering Anthony's question. All I did was I used AI to identify the AI companies. But you asked two questions, and so here's
Right.
the two questions that I asked. I asked AI, give me a list of the top 10. And I did an example I showed you all last week.
Yeah, you did.
Go back last week, but I'm going to just break this down because it's worth repeating. I asked AI, which is XAI, Grok, give me a list of the top 10 performing stocks related with AI related stocks within the last 365 days. So that's the last year. So it gives me a list of 10 companies, and it gives me, okay, this company did 10x in the last year. This company did 40x in the last year. This company did whatever. All right. The next question is, I want to know short term. Give me a list of the top 10 companies, AI related stocks performances in the last 30 days. Then it gives you a list. And then what you start to notice is there are companies, the names are being duplicated in both lists.
Mhm.
That means that these companies are winning in the last year and they're winning in the last month. Bingo. That's all I need. So I was able to identify 5 or 6 companies that appeared on both lists. The short term, 1 month, and the 1 year. And so those are the companies that I'm dollar cost averaging. I don't have to worry about the stock price. I don't care about the stock price. I'm just accumulating shares. And the plan is to do this for 5 to 10 years. And there are people who do this for 50 years. As I've told you all the story with the people, with the guy who I met at the beach who, had 8 million shares in Coca-Cola because his grandfather started buying shares in Coca-Cola when he was like a working man in the 1950s. And he just passed down the shares to the father. The father did the same thing, and the father then passed down the shares to his children. And the guy owned 8 million shares when I met him in like 2000. I met him at the beach, in Miami in like 2000, probably 2003. So I met this guy 23 years ago. He had 8 million shares that was passed on to him because his father had 24 million shares. His father passed away and gave his 3 children, which this guy was one of them, 8 million shares each. So this guy had 8 million shares. And when you do the math, the 8 million shares of Coca-Cola today is worth about $600 million because Coca-Cola is about $80 a share. Okay. And this is how people build wealth over time. And so I'm just giving you all a strategy on how you can get wealthy slowly, because in the beverage industry, Coca-Cola became disruptive. It became the national drink and people have made money off of just investing in Coca-Cola. And this guy, he dollar cost average Coca-Cola. He told me he doesn't even drink it. he doesn't even drink Coca-Cola, but he dollar cost averages. So this is like people have this sense of like, oh, I don't like the guy who runs this company, so I'm not going to put my money in it. And just understand that people don't care whether you want to put your money in a company or not. Um, there's people just looking at the bottom line, and they're looking at the money, and they're looking at, okay, because CEOs change over time. But if you have a conviction that this company is a leader within the disruptive companies, it's your choice, right? It's better to have a choice and decide not to do it than to have no choice at all. And what has happened is that our people, because of what has happened to us for centuries, where we have been used really for labor and for land, whether it's Africa, the Caribbean, or our people in the United States, wherever Black folks are found, we have been exploited. And there's reason for it. And maybe one of these days I'll cover one of the solutions that I have. Um, and I probably will, around a new cultural system, new cultural and spiritual system that addresses what we call the black box of our history. And so the black box is when a plane crashes, the only thing that survives is the black box. And that black box tells you exactly why the plane crashed, how it crashed, when, and all of that. But the retrieval of the black box is just not intellectual exercise. It's actually to evaluate what caused the plane to crash so the plane will not crash again. So I have a black box theory on Black history, global Black history, that identifies our issues using first principles thinking. And so what we're doing here is using first principles thinking as well. And so what I'm saying to you all is that we are at another Amazon in 2000, Google in 1995, Tesla in 2015, Bitcoin in 2001. It's up to you. 2011. It's up to you if you want to hop on what's happening in terms of taking your dollars and making your dollars grow exponentially. Okay. So what we're gonna do is, someone says, "Can you do that soon?" Yeah, I'll do it. I'll maybe next. Maybe if you all are really interested in this black box solution that I have, I'll do it next week. Y'all want to do it next week, brother Anthony? And
Yeah, let's do it. Got to give the people what they want, man.
Yes, indeed. If you would ask me, I would say I want to do it this weekend, but I'll go to next week. We'll go to next week.
yeah, we'll
I'm
do
very,
it.
very invested in that black box theory of,
Right.
man, I'm very invested in that. So
Yeah,
I
so
can't wait.
it's a first
First
principles
principles
approach.
thinking is
Yeah,
going to open it up.
yeah, it is, because you see what happens is that there are those of us who actually care about our people. And this is only a conversation for those of us who care about our people. And what I mean
Right.
by our people is our global people,
Right.
worldwide, because we have a worldwide problem. And if
Right.
you exercise your passport and you travel, you understand that the problem of Black folks worldwide is the same.
That's right.
Okay. And so what we're looking for is a universal. You see, like physicists right now, for those of you all who don't know, physicists have a problem. Um, they're looking for, so they have the theory of relativity, but they're looking for a theory that unites all the different forms of mass and energy. And they don't yet have a theory, a unified theory, because gravity works in a weird way. So you have electromagnetism, you have what they call the weak force and the strong force. And what physicists have been trying to do is unify the theories into like one unified equation. The problem is that gravity is the oddball. So what they're trying to do is find a unified, and string theorists have tried to do this. It's a more complicated conversation if you don't have the background in this. But the top thinkers in the world of physics, and physics is the science. Physics is the science that controls everything. Physics is what gives you nuclear weapons. It gives you nuclear energy, understanding, the nucleus and protons and all of that. And the splitting of the nucleus is what changed the world. I don't want to get too much into physics right now, but physics is very important if you want to be a powerful people. There is no powerful people without the understanding of mathematics and physics. But what they're trying to do is that they're trying to unify all the forces together. And they're looking for one central unified theory, okay, to understand the world better. And so physicists are working on that, and it has not been completed. And string theory has actually delayed this. There's a whole, for a lot of people who don't know, there's a civil war going on in physics right now between the string theorists and the people who are outside of string theory. That's a whole different conversation, but you should be aware of that, okay? Some of the smartest people in the world, there's a civil war going on, okay? Now, they're looking for a unified theory. So why are they looking for a unified theory? Because they're looking at force. They're looking at getting a greater understanding of the world. And so if you are a Black person in this world and you're not looking for a unified theory for all of our people, then what you are is you're racing towards division. And so what division does on a mathematical level, so there's all these people that will be in your ear, and you know, if you go to Africa, because I spend a lot of time on the continent, I spend a lot of time in the Caribbean, I spend a lot of time in America, and the least productive of our people are focused on division. So if you go to like Nigeria, you'll have people who want to separate them. So Yoruba versus Igbo, Igbo versus Hausa, this goes on. And it doesn't serve the interests of the country, it only serves the interests of the people who want to colonize you and enslave you, right? Because your division is their power. Akan versus Ewe, you know, this group versus that group. And you see this type of stuff happening in South Africa right now, where you have certain South Africans who are against African so-called immigrants. And so all it's doing is making the Black people in all of Southern Africa weaker, right? What division does mathematically is division seeks to go to zero. Always remember that. On a mathematical level, division seeks to go to zero. So therefore, those people who are looking for us to be fruitful and to multiply are looking for a unifying theory. And as a matter of fact, the best of our people in our history have been unifiers, right? When Harriet Tubman was doing her work, she was not asking what plantation you came from or, you know, which plantation was better. She wasn't dividing people based on religion or plantation, and she wasn't dividing people based on what, you know, port they landed on through, whether it was the Charleston port or the port of, you know, in Georgia or wherever. They, you know, just said, we're all in this situation and we're going to have to unify regardless of whatever so-called differences that we have. And most of these differences are defined by our enemies anyway, right? Other words, like I'm going to divide against you because you were born in America and I was born in Jamaica. Well, Jamaica and America are defined by the people who enslaved us. Those are nation states that were defined by other people. Like, you know, like you'll see, like, it's just like you see like Crips and Bloods and East Coast versus West Coast. Like, I mean, it's just, it's a waste of time. But the point of the black box theory is getting to a unified program for all of our people worldwide. And so I will talk about that next week. And it's a cultural paradigm shift and a spiritual paradigm shift. And I think that you all will find it very interesting. But I'm dealing with the black box of what happened to our people globally and how we can prevent the plane from crashing again. Because that's the only thing that matters. When the plane crashes and you get the black box, you want to make sure that that plane doesn't crash again. And so what we're doing is we're going to use first principles thinking to identify the two limiting factors in global Black history. Okay. And it's going to be a great conversation, and I have, you know, the solutions and all that. Okay. So,
can I add on?
Yeah, there's a negative comment here. Damn, not another one trying to get us back to Africa. Oh my God, respectfully. So here it is that I have zero tolerance for people who hate Africa, Black people who hate Africa. So you can tune out. Melody, Aurora, you can just tune out because I love Africa. And if you don't love Africa, you can just tune out and just do whatever you're doing. You don't have to get any of this information from me. There's zero tolerance for the division of our people, period. So you can leave. Please do. All right. And I'm not going to argue with you. Just don't tune in to me. Okay. All right. Now, because Africa is the continent that has the most black people, so if you hate Africa, you hate black people.
Right.
So I don't, basically you sound like Billy Bob and Jethro in terms of your talking points. All right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, these are people who rather live with Billy Bob and Jethro than Amadou and Akua.
Right.
So,
right.
if you're allergic to Africa, this is not the conversation for you because we're talking serious things here.
Right on.
All right. All right. Now, back to,
yeah. I think you were at Western Digital in DCA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So next week we will talk about the black box, and Western Digital is one of the companies. We already saw that Western Digital is doing close to 10x per year. Okay, did 10x for this year. Okay, let's go to sharing this again. And what you all are going to see is you're going to see explosive growth because this is what you're going to see with a disruptive industry. That's Western Digital. Y'all can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, the next company that we're going to do is SanDisk. And hold on to your seats, people. SanDisk right here. And remember, I just started dollar cost averaging this every week. Okay, I don't like the fact that it just went bright, but we'll be able to see these numbers. So 1 week it's down 3%. 1 month it's up 24%. 3 months it's up 183%. 1 year, year to date since January is up 700%, y'all. That's 8x. And then get ready for the 1 year. 4,000%. That's a 40x. That means that $1,000 would turn into $40,000.
Oh Lord.
Okay, so that's SanDisk. So I'm dollar cost averaging SanDisk. Okay, there's another one I'm dollar cost averaging Hut 8, and this is what, by the way, this is what AI identified for me asking those 2 prompt questions. And so I'm sure Red Pill can tell you all about the power of having the correct prompts for AI. Right, it changes everything because if you ask the right question,
it's the
you get the right
difference
answer.
between remember we're talking about large language models, keyword language, and your language activates the model. So you ask the right question, which is structured as the right prompt, you literally can unlock a bank vault full of data and information. There are frameworks and ways to actually prompt it the right way. Of course, you're not just throwing it out there and, shooting your shot. There's also something called loops and agent loops, which is replacing prompts. And we also have skills and markdown files. So yeah, this is something that we teach on a consecutive basis. I actually have, I got booked to do a summer camp in the Bronx in New York City for the summer for teaching children, and they want me to do summer school for adults as well. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It falls right in line what I wanted to do because I wanted to get in front of the children.
That's right.
And I wanted to get in front of the elders, some of the people who are my age and older,
right,
because there's just too much opportunity going on right now.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So when we look at Hut 8, all of these are AI adjacent companies or AI related companies, right? And they're dealing with memory and storage, right? So when we look at Hut 8, again, I just started dollar cost averaging a month ago, so it's not too late, y'all. And we're going to be able to see what this looks like in real time. So it's almost like we're doing this together as a family.
Right.
Keep in mind, I did this with Bitcoin. I did this with Tesla. I started Bitcoin dollar cost averaging in 2011, and I started Tesla dollar cost averaging in 2015. And I remember, I'll never forget, we'll always talk about this. Brother Anthony gave me a call one day, said, "Brother, tell me about investing."
That's right.
And I said, Tesla and Bitcoin.
Right.
Those are the 2 main companies I told him. And I think you called me around 2018.
Yeah, I think it
maybe we
was
had this
around that
conversation.
time.
Was it
Right.
2018 or 2020? Maybe it was during COVID. I think it was during COVID. You called me to
I think
ask
it
me. So it
was.
was like 2021,
Right.
right? And I know you got right into it and you've done handsomely well. I know that you've done very well with that, right? So check this out. So we're going to do the same thing with another disruptive industry. Hut 8, okay, says in the last year, let's just go the last 3 months, we're up 123%, means that you would have doubled your money already in 3 months. Year to date, 142. The year, 610%, which is 7x your money. Okay, so Hut 8 is doing quite well. So we have Western Digital, SanDisk, MU, which is Micron, Hut 8. Okay, and the next company is STX, which is Seagate. Any of you all who've dealt with music or any type of film, you would know about these companies because they're the companies that have been providing the storage, computer storage, whether it's jump drives or whether it's any of these like storage, these storage containers that you would have. Like I have one here, right here, and I believe this is from, you see this right here? Let me show you all. So this is my external hard drive,
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah.
So
Okay.
you have an external hard drive.
Got one.
Yeah, let me stop sharing this real quick. So these are companies that have been doing these external hard drives for years. And now they're exploding because guess what? What's an external hard drive? Memory.
Yep.
And this holds a few gigabytes, or actually terabytes rather. And here's the deal is that, remember, 10 years ago you couldn't get a terabyte hard drive, right? And if you did, it was very, very large. Now look how the size has shrunken down year after year. And so these companies are into memory storage. What did I tell you the limiting factors are for AI? Energy and memory storage. Those are limiting factors. And so once you solve for that, AI can take off. Well, that's why these memory storage companies that have been in it for so long are experiencing this exponential growth, because they are providing the microchips and the memory storage technology and hardware for AI companies. These AI companies such as, OpenAI, Claude, all of that, they need these memory storage devices. So here's the deal. Hut 8, we're going to go back to these companies, and then we're going to bust out, and I'm going to show you all the dollar cost averaging calculator, where now you just have to just punch in a few numbers and you start seeing what you can be prepared to have in terms of money in the next 5 to 10 years, y'all. So get ready for that. Okay, we're going back to the next company, which is Seagate. Okay, those of you all who've been in music or whatever, you all know about Seagate and you know about Western Digital. If you need to store the data, if you've been in movies or film, or you're using your computer for high bandwidth of data, you already know about these companies. SanDisk, which has the little jump drives and what have you, that's the company that's taken off the most in terms of growth due to AI. Okay, and they're all pivoting towards serving AI. Okay, so let's share Seagate. Okay, so we've got 1 week Seagate is down 3%. 1 month it's up 20%. You'd have made 20% on your money last month. 3 months, 153%. These are the numbers we love to see. 261% for since January, and then for the year, it is up 660%. Okay, we love those types of numbers. All right, so those are the 5 companies that you want to look at. because when you start dollar cost averaging, you either wanted to do the dollar cost averaging start last year or you wanted to start today, right? Just so here's my statement, just like a fruit tree, where they say the best time to plant a fruit tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time is to plant it today. Okay, well, this is my statement. The best time to dollar cost average AI related stocks was really probably last year, as you see from these numbers, right? The second best time is today.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I showed you how to do it. You're going to hit order type. You're going to hit recurring investment and all of that. And it will automatically do it. And we're going to cover stocks in different countries as well. So it's not just American stocks. I'm going to go over Caribbean stocks and African stocks. There's some African stocks that are growing at 1,000% in the last month. Okay. It's just that people don't travel, so they don't know these things. But you could be making beaucoup money in Africa, you know, the continent that some of y'all black folks hate. But you can actually go to Africa and make a windfall, because the reason is that investing in Africa, if you've been to Africa recently, you see that Africa is under construction. Everywhere you go, you see public works projects in Africa with huge roads, bridges being built. If you haven't been to Africa, you wouldn't know this. But if you have, you would see that Africa is under construction. So investing in Africa now is like investing in Amazon, someone said, who hates Africa? We had someone post something earlier, if you missed the show earlier, basically, you know, indicating that they hate Africa and they hate anything about Africa. So we just wanted to clean that up. So anyway, I'm going to go over stocks in different parts of the world, particularly Caribbean and Africa, probably in the next 2 weeks, so that you all can understand what's going on. And the bottom line is this: investing in Africa now is like investing in Amazon in 2000 or in Google in 1995. And we're just using first principles thinking. Please understand that out of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world, I believe 7 of them are in Africa. That should tell you something. When someone tells you that, it's just like me telling you the 5 fastest growing AI companies in the world are these companies that I just told you. You want to invest in them now, right? So if I didn't tell you that, and I'll have to, you know, give you all receipts. I want you all to see this. African countries, fastest growing economies. And this is where you want to get in. You want to get in at the ground floor, and you want to get in with the fastest growing economies. Okay? And so I have a link to that. Later on, I'll do it when you know, we start talking. Fastest growing economies in the world. And you'll start seeing a list of those countries. And many of you would be surprised that I think 6 or 7 are actually African. Okay? Yeah, these are the fastest growing economies. Look at this. Okay. Yeah, I can show you all this. So this is what, you know, those of us who invest, this is the type of information we like to see. So let me share this with you all. And this is all cheat code stuff, man. Mm-hmm. This is cheat code stuff. Okay. Right. Here it is. Here we go. This is the cheat code stuff, right? Look at this. Fastest growing economies 2026. This is what you want to look at in terms of where you want to invest, because you want to grow your money, right? So you want to go to fastest growing economies. So look at this. Mm-hmm. By country, Macau, I don't even know Macau. But look at this. Guyana, which is, I would consider an African country because of its population, in South America's part, Caribbean as well. Libya, Palau, Senegal, West Africa, Maldives, Fiji, DR Congo, Ivory Coast, Rwanda, Ethiopia. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 10 are African countries. Okay. And then if you go to top 20, you're going to see even more. So what's happening, y'all, under your noses? And we can cover the economic growth of Africa probably in the next 2 weeks for people to understand what the hell is really happening in the world. Because if you just live in America, you're not getting the real news. You're not getting the real sense of what's actually happening in the world. And you're missing out on money. Because when I hop on a plane and I go to Africa, which I go quite frequently, the people on the plane are not black folks a lot of times. They're either people from the countries, or a lot of times they're white folks. Right. And you listen to them talking, they're going to Africa to do business deals. Okay? And the bottom line is that that's where the growth is happening in the world. And so you might want to start looking at where you can actually benefit from real growth opportunities. And that's what I'm here to share with you all. So let's get to this dollar cost averaging calculator. This is the moment that y'all been waiting for. So we've identified 5 of the top AI companies that's giving you growth. There's literally 7 to 10 to 40xing your money in 1 year, right? Where else are you getting this information, y'all?
No, you're not getting. You're not getting it.
Where else are you getting this information online? All right.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So now let's. You're going to go to StockTitan.net.
All right. StockTitan.net.
And you're going to go to Tools and DCA Calculator. Okay. And let me show you all how to do that. This is very important. Take notes, y'all. This is going to change your life and the life of your family. Okay. You able to see my screen?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, we go to StockTitan.net. You're going to go to Tools, and you're going to click DCA Calculator. You see that?
Go to Tools and click DCA. All right. Yeah, we see it.
Okay. What it does, enter your parameters, but what you want to do is you want to go back test with real stock. You see that?
Got it.
Okay. Let's just say that you invested $500 a month. Okay? Let's just say for 10 years, and your starting balance is 0. Or let's just say you start with $500. Okay? And what company would you like to look at? You want to look at Tesla?
Let's do it.
Put in Tesla, TSLA. Don't worry about annual return and all that, because this is if you were just giving a hypothetical, but we have a real example with Tesla, so you don't have to put in annual return. Just put in your duration, and it tells you the start date. So let's just say you did the start date January 1st, 2015. This is actually when I started Tesla investing. I started in January 2015. Okay. Let's just say you did $500 a month. And let's just say the duration is the last 11 years. So that's 2026, right? 2015 to January 2016. That's 11 years, right? So all you do now, and you're putting $500 a month into Tesla. And then you just hit calculate. And it tells you your final value of your portfolio. Can you see it?
Got it.
$916,000.
Right.
That's how much money you would have if you just did $500 a month into Tesla for the last 10, 11 years. $500 a month. Now, there are things that we've paid $500 a month for, whether it's, a car note, or whatever it is that you're doing. If you were able to scrape up $500 a month. And I know people who do this, and what they did is they just either sold their house and decided to live in a smaller apartment and just take their rent down from $1,500 a month to $1,000 a month. So now they got the $500, right? They downsized because they said, I'm going to dollar cost average for the next decade because I want to be a millionaire. And what they did was they put the money into Tesla, $500 a month. and they come out with $916,000. And what this tells you is that $500 a month, the total invested up till today would be $83,000. And what it does, it gives you a lump sum comparison. So what they're saying is, okay, that's your dollar cost averaging, but what would have happened if you actually front-ended $83,000 in 2015 with Tesla? And it tells you, you see this? $1.8 million. How do y'all feel about that? So if you dollar cost average, which is $500 a month, you'd be sitting on $916,000. But if you front-ended that whole amount of money that you dollar cost averaged at the beginning, you get 1.8 million. Now, the reason why you want dollar cost average is because you don't know where the price is going. You don't know what's going to necessarily happen. So you want to take it easy. This is the safer way to do it. But if you are basically, you know, someone who's not risk adverse and said, okay, I got $80,000 through whatever, an inheritance or whatever, and I really believe that Tesla is going to be transformative because they have the best electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are disruptive and they are #1 in electric vehicle space. So I'm going to put 80,000, or I'm going to get my family together and we're all going to put our money together and get $80,000 and dump it into Tesla, you know, January 1st, 2015. There's families that do this, by the way. They say, okay, each of us put in $5,000 and you get 15 family members. That's $75,000, right? Guess how much you'd have if you put 80,000 in? You'd be sitting on 1.8 million today. Okay, but if you did it piecemeal, which is dollar cost averaging every month, $500, you'd be sitting on $916,000. Let's do different companies now. So let's try AMD, which is a company that I'm very, very bullish on because they're in the microchip space. So you put in AMD, let's just say that you dollar cost average $500 a month into AMD. What would you be sitting on right now? Calculate. You'd be sitting on $3,200,000. How do y'all feel about that?
Wow.
And this is, I'm telling you, this computer, you don't have to do any of the math that I was doing. You just put the numbers into this calculator. And this is the numbers that you get for dollar cost averaging, which is just a monthly or bi-weekly amount of money that you put in. My advice is put in 20%. Okay? You'd be sitting on $3 million if you dollar cost average $500 a month into AMD. Let's see if you did weekly, because I do weekly dollar cost averaging. Let's do weekly. You'd be sitting on $12 million. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
See where it says final port? You'd be sitting on $12 million because you knew that computer chips are going to be disruptive, of course. And you chose the leaders, which would be NVIDIA and AMD pretty much, right? And you just decide to do $500 a week. Now, $500 a week, someone say, okay, I can't handle $500 a week, right? There are people who can, like people I went to school with, you know, who are lawyers and doctors and engineers now. They can afford $500 a week, which comes to $2,500 a month. I mean, $2,000 a month, which comes to $24,000 a year, which is 20% of that is about you making a little bit over $100,000 a year. Imagine you're making $100,000 a year and you decided you can take 20,000 of that, according to my rule, which is 20%, and you were going to dollar cost average, which would come out to $500 a week about. Well, if you did that for the last 11 years, you'd be sitting on $12 million. You could retire. Okay, because to me, anything above $10 million is FU money. FU money is the money that you would need where people's opinions don't matter. What do I mean? Like what people think of you, what people's ideas are, they don't matter at this point. There's no bosses that can tell you what to do because you can walk away. You can say what you want publicly because people can't cancel you because you're sitting on $12 million. So anything above $10 million is what I consider FU money. Everyone should be working to get FU money. And you would have had it if you invested that amount of money, $500 a week, into AMD. And people could say, well, I can't afford $500 a week. Let's say you did $100 a week. So you can start playing around with these numbers. Let's say you did $100 a week into AMD. And now we're going to hit calculate. What would you be sitting on today? You'd be sitting on $2.6 million. Not bad for $100 a week. And how many of us have wasted $100 a week on foolishness?
That's right.
In the last 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Overpaying for things, buying things that don't matter, trying to get, name brand clothes, spending money in clubs, going on vacations where you're just sitting on sand and eating food, and saying that you're in a different country, but a beach is a beach pretty much. You know what I'm saying? You're just throwing away money, and you could have just put $100 a week, and in 11 years, you'd be sitting on $2.6 million. Now, what's really interesting about this is it breaks down how much you'd have invested in the period of the 11 years. $100 a week brings you to $66,000. And what they show you is that if you front-ended the $66,000 into AMD, you actually would be sitting on $14 million. So it gives you the lump sum advantage. You're always going to have an advantage with the lump sum at the beginning, right? But it's risky because you don't know where this is going to go. But I'm telling you that I do both. So I try to keep as little cash as possible. I keep cash enough to pay bills. All my excess money goes into holding into stocks or crypto or any investments into my businesses or what have you. I try to keep enough cash to be able to handle my bills for the next 2 to 3 months. And the rest of the money, I do not keep in dollars. Why? Because dollars are a depreciating asset, and I want to keep my money in appreciating assets. So the longer I keep my money in dollars is the more money I'm losing, because your spending power decreases by 8% every year, and it compounds. And the reason why it decreases by 8% is because your spending power goes down by 8%. And if you don't believe me, look at how much $100 would have bought you 20 years ago in a grocery store as opposed to $100 now, right? You're talking about 2 or 3 full carts compared to, a few items in the grocery store. So it's the reflective of inflation, which is a form of theft anyway, because your spending money goes down. And we'll talk about inflation and theft on an international level in terms of IMF and what it does to other countries as well, so people can understand what goes on and what has been done to combat that and the ideas that I have. And it turns out, Brother Anthony, Burkina Faso has circumvented the IMF, and they did exactly what we talked about months ago. They were able to do treasury bills with the diaspora, and they raised a couple $2 billion without having to get loans from the IMF, which ends up devaluing your currency, which is a form of time theft. Okay, right. We'll talk about that another time for people who are new to that concept. But I'm just giving you these numbers for you all to look at. $100 a week since 2015 in AMD will give you $2.6 million. And a lot of people are banging their head right now saying, damn, no one taught me this. They're not going to teach you this because they want you to be workers.
That's right.
Okay. Someone asked, is this with options? No, this is not even options. So Brittany says, I feel sick. Yeah. Every time I share this with people, they feel sick. And just go to, please go to stocktitan.net, go to tools and then DCA calculator and just play around with this. And you're going to see these numbers in any of these stocks. And these are like the stocks that you all know about. So I can put in Google. I can put in, Amazon. I can put in Facebook. And you can see how much money you would have if you just were taught to dollar cost average. I had to teach myself this. I took a year off just to study money, and I had to teach myself this. And I'm just sharing this with you all. Okay. So here's the deal. Someone asked a question. Someone asked a really good question. Is this stock options? This is not stock options, y'all. This is just buying the stock. Stock options is more risky because you can lose all your money, but you can make much more money in stock options. So I do a mix of stock options and dollar cost averaging. I also do Forex, so I do different things, but I'm just letting you all know as a beginner, this is the safest thing that you can do because your stock is not going to go to zero. There's no AI. These leaders right now, AMD, Intel, NVIDIA, if you just want to play it safe, you could just put your money in NVIDIA. They're not going to zero. You'll do better with NVIDIA year by year than if you kept it in the bank, which is 0.01%. NVIDIA has reached, it's one of I don't know if it's SpaceX or NVIDIA, but they're the highest capitalized company in terms of stocks. And so, their room to grow is not the same as these other stocks. So I like to get into stocks that have much more room to grow. That's why I did that analysis for SpaceX for you all. SpaceX is valued at $2 trillion. We're looking for 10x. For SpaceX to go from 2 trillion to 20 trillion, it would have to be, I think the number was like 50% of the US gross domestic product, which I don't see that happening for one company. So that's why I'm not investing in SpaceX, because the chance of SpaceX, it's a generational company. You're not going to, over time, you're going to make money, but I'm looking for 10Xs. And for SpaceX to go from 2 trillion to 20 trillion, that's a hell of a feat. And it's going to be half of the US economy, which I don't anticipate. So for me, I'm choosing other companies that have a higher room for growth because I'm always looking for 10X over 5 to 10 years, period. Okay. That's what I'm investing in. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to just play around with this and we're just going to name a couple companies. And this is going to be fun because we can do this as a family, y'all. So the people who are responding through text, name a company. Just name a company that you know of. It can be Amazon, it could be Google, whatever, and let's dollar cost average since 2015. Okay, we can start with you, Brother Anthony. Brother Anthony, just name a company. You on, Brother Anthony? Okay, Brother Red Pill, just name a company or a stock and let's dollar cost average and see what the money would have been. Any of y'all there? Okay. Mara. Brittany says, Hanaka Maru says Google. Someone says Micron.
I say Netflix.
Okay. So let's start with what Red Pill says. Let's do Netflix. And okay, y'all naming some good companies, man. And we're going to do them all. So let's do it. Make sure your screen is big so you can see. So let's do Netflix. We're going to do since 2015 Netflix. And let's do $100 a week. Okay?
Yes,
You can do $100 a week. Netflix. NF, I think LX. Okay? Since 2015. Think about where you were in 2015. Close your eyes, think about where you were in 2015, and imagine if you had this information and this was taught to you in school and this was taught to you in your family. And this was a family tradition, like the guy in Coca-Cola, with the Coca-Cola stocks, whose grandfather invested in Coca-Cola through dollar cost averaging in 1950. Imagine if this was a family tradition. Check this out. So now we're going to do Netflix. This is not right. 2015. Let's go. Hold on one second. When did Netflix do its IPO? Do y'all know when Netflix did its IPO? I can find out. Hold on. We're going to do this. Here's what we're going to do. It's important to start when these companies are taking off. This is what's important. Or before they take off, not after they've taken off. Okay.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this tab instead, and we're going to just get the right dates. So let's say Netflix right here. Y'all able to see where it says Netflix?
Yep. Yep. We got it.
We go to Max, and Netflix went public in
May
2000.
23rd, 2002.
Okay, so let's do the DCA calculator, and let's do 2002.
Right.
Let me do 2002. We're gonna hit back test with real stock. We're gonna put in Netflix. All of us were here when Netflix made its transition to becoming a leader in how people watch TV or TV series and movies. Just about all of us are old enough to have seen Blockbuster close down, right? And so if we were using kinetic knowledge at that time, so the start date was, let's see, we're talking about 2002, May 2002. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to this DCA calculator. We're going to share this tab instead. Do you see the DCA calculator?
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, so we're going to start April. Let's put in April 04/01/2002. This is right. Let's say after the IPO. And let's just say for the last 20 years or 23 years, you've been in Netflix. Okay. Now there's some of you who've been literally doing subscriptions to Netflix for the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. Right? Every month, Netflix is taking money from you so you can watch Netflix, right? Okay. But what if every month you are actually buying stock instead? And let's just say it's $100 a week. Mm-hmm. See, I want to change relationships. Instead of you being a consumer, you being an investor, and what that looks like. Think about every month how Netflix takes money from you, and what has it done for your life tangibly? But let's just say that you bought stock tangibly. See, we're taught to be consumers. Everyone's getting Netflix and got a Netflix subscription, so we're doing the same. But what if we were in a different circle, and the circle that we were in were a circle of investors where we're actually, instead of every month buying Netflix subscriptions, we're buying Netflix stock. You see how the conversation will change? So now we have it in 2002, the last 23 years. Let's calculate. For some reason, this is not giving us the right number on Netflix. Let me check another, because this would not be, that would not be the number.
Yeah, that was the last number.
Yes, for some reason, this is not giving us the right number. Right. Let's try.
Let's try another. Let's try NVIDIA.
Okay, I have another. Hold on one second. I have another one. Let's share this tab. So there's one called dcacalculator.org.
That's it. Okay.
Okay, so you can double check these and just use two calculators just to make sure that the numbers are right. Okay, but let's check this. Let's see Netflix. I want to make sure we get this right. Okay, this is Netflix. Okay. Okay, since this is 20, that's interesting. So now let's do 2002 like what we were doing. We're going to go to 2002. This is when they had their IPO. So let's just say that you were someone who was aware. And let's just say you started in April to today, which is 6/24/26, right? And you did $100 weekly. So this is always what you want to do, is you want to just double check. Some of these, sometimes there's glitches. Mm-hmm. So if you did $100 weekly in Netflix, this is what you would have. We're going to dollar cost average. Netflix. Yep. So you'd have $2 million. You'd have $2,200,000. Does everyone see that?
Yep.
That's what you'd have. How do y'all feel about that? You'd be sitting on $2.2 million right now. Okay. So now we're going to try some other ones that people said. What was the one you said, Brother Anthony?
NVIDIA.
Let's
that's
try
another one I
NVIDIA.
got into early.
Yep,
Oh, wow.
you got into NVIDIA. I remember that. NVDA. Let's try this one now again. So with NVIDIA, this one, for some reason, this one's giving you errors on Netflix. With NVIDIA, this is correct. So $100 a week with NVIDIA for the last 20 years, you would have, oh no, this is from 2015, actually.
2015, right.
So the last 10 years. This is what it's telling you. Back testing NVIDIA, investing $100 weekly from 2015 to 2026. You see what you got?
That's
Final value, $3 million. So that's an 11-year investment.
Wow.
3.3 million, but you would have invested 65,000. If you'd have front-ended it, 65,000. 11 years ago, you'd have $25 million.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's heartbreaking, my friend.
Yeah, and someone asked, what if you're not able to invest every week? You can invest every month. You can do every month.
Yep.
And you can just do the number that works for you. And the point is, just play around with the calculator based on what you are seeing, like, and what you can afford. My formula is whatever your monthly income is, you should take 20% of it if you can and invest it. Whatever that is. I don't care if you make $300 a month, you should invest $60 a month. If you make $3,000 a month, you should invest $600 a month. Leave the other 80% for whatever it is that you're going to do, you know, in terms of your living expenses. But the priority is to cut your living expenses so that you can invest, not the other way around, to cut your investments so that you can buy liabilities, because you want your liabilities ledger to look completely different than your assets ledger. So you're poor because your liabilities are more than your assets. What we want to do is we want to turn around and have your assets be more than your liabilities. And the only way you can do that, and I'm just telling you, you can do that with 20%, because you do it over time, you start getting FU money. And then you can pass this on to your children and let them start. Imagine your children starting to invest in AI and they're 21 now. And they're investing in the top AI companies and they sit on this for 20 years. You're guaranteeing your children to be millionaires. Like, I don't know any other way to say it. Everybody else is going to be scraping and working 9 to 5s, whatever. But because you instituted this discipline, like 20%, institute the discipline, and your children will never have to beg anyone for a job. So we're gonna do more companies, because people listed companies, different companies, and if the numbers don't look right, we use 2 different. And I'll do monthly, because a lot of people are thinking that you can't do this thing because, oh, I don't have this weekly money, right? Yeah. But what I'm going to do is I'll just do monthly, because most people, they can probably do monthly, right? You have to pay your rent monthly, so we can do monthly. So,
yeah, while you look for that, dear brother, you know, when I first started doing this, man, early in the game, when I didn't know enough, you know, I started to try to time the market. You know, talk to us about trying to time the market, anticipating the peaks in the valley versus DCA. I mean, you know, it's you can't time it, but talk to us.
Yeah, it's hard to time the market, and I do time the market because of certain skills that I have in terms of reading charts. So I use options to time the market. So when you see me doing the options play, that's me timing the market.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a whole different conversation, which I have on HERU Trades. If you all want to see how I do it, you go to HERU. I'll share that with you all. So I do have some videos for y'all. You will go to HERUtrades.com, because I mean, you know, I have a lot of people calling me, emailing me to learn this stuff. I don't have time to do one-on-one with everybody. I got so many things I'm doing, but what I've done is I've done videos. So all you have to do is just literally watch the videos, and I try to explain it for an 8-year-old to understand. So you're going to go to HERU Trades. Do you see HERUtrades.com?
Yes, we
Okay,
see it.
yeah, this is where people go to subscribe to my, you know, to follow my trades.
Right.
But what I have for you all is when you go to the About section, you scroll down, it's About Me, and you scroll down, and I've got educational videos for you.
Right.
Free educational videos. Number one, how I make money with stocks, a step-by-step approach. I did this during COVID. Okay. Number two, stock options explanations and account setup. So I show you how to set up an account and how I explain how you make money from stock options. And then number three, I show you how I buy stock options in real time. And then number four, I show you how I make money trading Forex. So this is really all you need to understand like how I do what I do. And then you can add your own tweaks and things as well. But that's my public service for people who want to learn this stuff. Because a lot of people want one-on-one. That's just too time consuming. I got too much stuff going on, man. I travel a lot. I can't commit to one-on-ones with people. And my time is really valuable. So it's hard for me to, and most of it, I'll be repeating myself. I don't like repeating myself continuously. So what I did was I made videos for people, and you could just stop the video, rewind it, you know, until you understand what I'm saying. But I try to explain it in the simplest way possible for y'all. Okay. So it's there, but this dollar cost averaging does not require any special skills. If you tune into this show, I've named to you the 5 companies you want a dollar cost average that we're looking to 10x in the next 5 to 10 years. And these companies, as you saw, have already, some of them almost, or some of them have way past 10x in the last 1 year. Remember, my standard is 10x within 5 to 10 years. I look at the companies. When I looked at Bitcoin and I looked at Tesla, do I think the electric vehicles and their leader, which is Tesla, is going to 10x by 2025? This is when I was looking at in 2015, and the answer was yes. And it more than 10x. Okay. And that's the way that you want to start looking at this thing. If you plan to be alive in the next 5 to 10 years, dollar cost average. And even if you don't, you want to pass this down to your children. So like, I don't know any other way to put this to y'all, but this is the way that you're going to make money from humble beginnings. We all start from humble beginnings unless we inherited a lot of money or you come from a wealthy family. We're all starting from humble beginnings, no matter where you are on this planet Earth. Okay. And our job is to put our children in a better place than we were. Okay. And I can't think of any better way to do that than dollar cost averaging. Okay. And so we can start playing around with some of these different companies, right? And we're gonna do this together, y'all. So let's just say okay, so Brittany started with Mara. Mara was a Bitcoin. Mara was doing Bitcoin in terms of mining. Okay, and I think they've pivoted to probably data storage or one of these storage companies as well. So let's do Mara. You want to do, let's do since 2015. Mara, let's do refresh. Okay, let me share the screen. And you all just get these 2 stock calculators. You compare them and make sure you see the same numbers. Make sure it's doing it correctly. Just cross-check it. And that is stocktitan.net. And that is also dcacalculator.org. Okay? Start playing these games with your family and start seeing, man, what can we afford to do? And what could we have afforded in the last 10 years? And let's just say that we got in this since 2015 in these companies that we already purchased from, whether it's Amazon or Netflix or Google, or, you know, I'm on, if you're watching YouTube, you're a consumer of Google, right? And the consumption is literally your attention. That's how they monetize you. So you want to start asking those questions. What if I invested in Google? Because I'm on YouTube every day. So I might as well see how I can make money off of these people. So let's just put in a month. Okay. We're going to put in $500 a month. And the duration is 11 years. And starting balance, let's just say you start your 500 for the first month. And we're going to back test with real stock. And we're going to do Mara. I don't know how well Mara is doing because of the price of Bitcoin being deflated, but in the last 10 years, it's gone up a lot. So start date would be, let's just say 2015, January 2015. We're going to start January 2015, 01. Oh, it's reverse. They have month, day. Okay. Month, yeah, January 1st, 2015. Okay. Then let's do the calculations now. Let's just see if you'd have made money. So yeah, you'd have made money. So at $500 a month with Mara, Brittany, you'd be sitting on $250,000 today. $258,000 dollar cost averaging. And what we're going to do is we're going to double check that with the DCA calculator.org. So let's do Mara. Let's do $500 a month. And let's do January 1st, 2011. Just like we did on the other one. January 1st, we'll just go up a year to 2011. Okay. So that's the last. Did I do 2011 or I do 20? Let me double check the date. Make sure I get the right date. No, I'm sorry. It was January 1st, 2015. Okay. So we're going to go 2015. Make sure we get the same numbers. All right. 2015, January 01. Till today, he did $500 monthly, and we're going to pick Mara. Okay, there we go. Start DCAing Mara. I think let's do Mara. Oh, they want me to. You see what's happening is that they're actually doing pop-ups on this. Oh, it didn't have this right. That's why. We want to do, and you just play around with these calculators, y'all. I'm just showing y'all like due diligence that you could do. So January 1st. Oh, that's why that didn't work. Okay, let me put this in right. So let's go 01/01/2015. Okay, and then we're going to do Mara. Okay, so this one is saying if you did January with Mara $500 monthly, it's saying $930,000. You'd be sitting on close to $1 million. So now what we have to find out is which one is accurate. And so I'm getting the feeling, because I'm looking at what DCA this one did last time, Stock Titan. I think this is the proper one right here. 930. I think that's it. Mara. Yeah, I believe that Yeah, I believe that this is it here. Let me just change the stock symbol and let's do Google. I want to make sure that this is actually updating properly. All right, let's do Google. GOOG. You may have a glitch. It may not. Let's see. Start DCA. Okay, so this one is not updating. I'd have to look, and I probably need to get an app. This is not updating properly. Okay, that we just proved it here. So we're gonna go with this one right now for Google. I mean for Mara. So you're looking at 258,000. Okay, let's do Google. And I'll update it as well. And I might even find a better one for y'all next week. Google, it says if you did the same with Google, $500 a month from 2015 is $407,000. You'd have close to $500,000. That's $500 a month, y'all. Let's do AMD. AMD, you'd have 3 million. Does everyone see that? And we might have done AMD earlier. Let's do Amazon. Amazon, you'd have $250,000, right? $500 a month. That's Amazon. We can do more. Someone asked for Micron. Micron isn't that old of a company, but okay, if you did $500 a month for Micron since 2015, you'd have $2.4 million. Do y'all see that?
Wow, yeah. That's it. Sure. Yep.
Yeah, someone says you did 100 and changed to 500. Yes, I changed it to $500 a month because people wanted a monthly. People were asking me for monthly instead of weekly because they were telling me that, you know, I can't do it every week, but I can do it monthly. So I changed it to $500 a month, as you'll see here. This is 500 monthly. You see that? Which comes out to about $125 a week. So I just did it to monthly. Okay, and I'm just picking different companies to plug in that if you invested since 2015, what you'd be looking like in terms of money. Okay, so you'd be sitting on $2.5 million with Micron. Okay, according to this one, and I would cross-check it with another calculator, and I'll find another one. And by next week, I'll have probably an app that works flawlessly. But right now, this is what we're going to work with. Okay. And people are saying they need to go lie down. They're sick. Yeah. Brittany, yeah. But you know, the system is not designed to tell us this. Okay. And that's why we're here, to tell you what the system is not going to tell you, whether it's in health or wealth. There were other companies that people asked for, and we can look at those companies as well. But the point is this. Here's the point. You can play this game all day long and just go to these websites with these dollar cost averaging calculators and think about yourself in the since 2015, what you were doing, or since COVID 2020, 2021, what you've been doing and what you could afford monthly. And then just start putting into these companies that you usually will either tune into, whether it's Google or use in some type of way, whether it's Amazon, and just start thinking about changing your relationship with these companies. You get what I'm saying? You want to, oh, wait. It was this tab. I'm sorry. This is the tab that you all should have been seeing. This is Micron. Do you see it now? 2.4 million. Are y'all able to see that?
Yeah.
I was sharing a different screen. So
right.
you'd be at 2.4 million if you put $500 a month into Micron since 2015. Okay. And it goes on and on. Like, let's look at Intel. Intel, you'd have $310,000. Let's look at some other companies. So I think someone said Hilton. Someone wanted to look at Hilton. I think someone said Hilton. So we'll do Hilton. There's the Hilton Hotels, which is HLTN, I believe. That's not the right symbol. HLT. Yeah, so with Hilton, you'd have $300,000. Someone asked about Hilton. I believe Hilton is HLT. Okay. And so this is the homework assignment that you all have, man. Every time I'm showing you all this, hopefully you go and do homework assignment and test out everything that I'm saying. Go to stocktitan.net, go to DCA calculator and start playing around with these numbers, man. Remember, just go to back test mode and start putting in the years and how much money you put in monthly. And it should be 20% of your income, your monthly income. I'm not asking you to put in 100%. I'm not asking you to put in 80%. I'm just saying take 20% of your money that you have, and instead of spending it elsewhere, pay yourself first. Invest in what you want to do first, because this is where you're going to make outsized money. I know people who do inverse. Like, I know people who invest 80% of their money. I've known these people for a long time. They live off of 20% of their money. Okay. And they'll live like they won't buy no flashy car. And these are people sitting on $10 million and they just have a mission and they're not buying no flashy cars. You'll see them, they're wearing the same t-shirt and jeans every day. They live in a 1-bedroom somewhere because they have a mission. They said, for the next 20 years, I'm going to sacrifice and just build up my wealth. And so what they're doing is they've inverted the 20% rule and made it an 80% rule. Okay. Someone said TSM. Yes, TSM is Taiwan Semiconductor. Let me share that. Let's just say you invested in TSM. And we can play these, we can do this calculator game all day long. TSM, you'd have $700,000. And that's at $500 a month. There's people like, let's change it to weekly, because there's people who do $500 a week. I know that a lot of people can't necessarily afford that, but we'll do bi-weekly first. So every 2 weeks, you put $500 in to TSM. Let's see how much money you'd have today. Since 2015, you'd be sitting on $1.3 million. Okay? And if you did it weekly, like I do, you'd be sitting on $2.7 million. That's $500 a week. And Taiwan Semiconductor, they provide most of the microchips to the world. So they're not a bad bet at all. And if you've been with them for the last, 15 years is what we're 11 years rather, since 2015, y'all, you're looking at, and we can all remember what we were doing in 2015. And imagine if you just put your money towards this, you'd be looking at 2.7 million if you were doing $500 a week, which some of you all could have afforded. There's a lot of people listening to my show, to this show right now, who have retired, because I get a lot of phone calls from them. And, I get phone calls of people asking me to invest for them. And I don't invest for people because I just don't want that responsibility. So these are people who, again, were actually, even if you were a post office worker that has a pension, like post office workers make over $50,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? There's, by the time you retire, some of them are making damn near $100,000. So there are people who can afford $500 a week. They just never knew what to do with it. And there's people wasting $500 a week on all types of frivolous things. And if you just redirected that money towards Taiwan Semiconductor and these other AMD, you'd have about $3 million right now. And that's just what it is. And you just keep doing it and you keep doing it. And you pass it on to your children. And this is, the best advice that I could give you all. I've been doing this for some time. It's worked out very well for me. The numbers are the numbers, y'all. And what I'm telling you all is that I have now started a whole new endeavor on dollar cost averaging AI. So basically, anyone who's following me and doing what I'm saying, you're making just as much money as I'm making. I told you you're making the percentage at least, no matter what it is, if you're investing $10 a week or $100 a week or $1,000 a week, you're making the same percentage that I'm making. So it's up to you. And I'm just telling you, I just started with the AI. So there's no this just full transparency. So a year from now, we can check to see where I'm at. And I'll tell you the numbers. I'll share with you all the numbers because I'm doing $100 a week on 5 companies, on 6 companies. So I'm doing $600 a week on AI companies. I've just chosen 6 of them. I told you them. And $100 every week is taken out of my bank account. And that's just with the AI stocks. I mean, I do other things, but this is what I'm doing in terms of this. And this is my new dollar cost averaging endeavor. I did it with Bitcoin. I did it with Tesla. It worked out beautifully. And, in 5-10 years, we can have another conversation, but I believe that you all should look into this very seriously, take it very seriously. And the best way to take it seriously is to start playing with these numbers on these calculators I shared with you. And when you start getting comfortable with it, and you can now envision where you're going to be in the next 5 years. I don't think that anyone else could give you more of a golden goose than what I've just given you all. That's it. I don't need your praise. I don't need your adulation. Just do it. You can thank me later if you want. But the point that I'm saying is that, see, Brother Anthony called me one day and he said to me, brother, tell me more about investing. And I just laid it out to him. I said, these are the companies and this is what you should do. And it was up to Anthony to take what I said seriously. And Brother Anthony took what I said seriously over 5-6 years ago. And now he's a seasoned investor because he's been holding positions in Tesla, Nvidia, and Bitcoin, and the other ones. And, Brother Anthony is a professional lawyer. And so he has income and he needs to figure out what he's going to do with his income, right? And those of us who have any form of steady income, if you're not dollar cost averaging, you're doing yourself a disservice. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing you should do. You should definitely build up businesses. I'm also an investor in other businesses as well, private businesses from friends I have globally. So when I'm in Africa, I invest in businesses like restaurants and, different things. I invest in people's businesses in America and the Caribbean. I buy land also in the Caribbean. The point is this. All of this is fun to me at this point, but the dollar cost averaging to me is the foundation of your investment. Everything else is extra. So there's really 2 things you should be investing in. Let me just break it down. For y'all. There's 2 things you should be investing in. Number 1, dollar cost averaging. That should just be everyone should do it. Pick the right companies, and I showed you how to pick the right companies. Dollar cost average, right? The next thing that everyone should be investing in is either your continued education in the field that you're in, so that you can get more income from that education as a worker, so you can demand more money, because you want to demand more money so you have cash flow. The increase of your cash flow increases what that 20% value is. Because if the rule is 20% investing, you want more money. See, a lot of people want to get more money from their job so they can buy a bigger house or buy a better car or this and that. But in people who understand this, they want more money so their dollar cost averaging goes up. See, that's the mind of an investor. The mind of a consumer is, I want an increase in salary so I can buy more things, right? I could buy more liabilities. Well, you want to increase your cash flow, and the way that you're going to increase your cash flow is weekly, monthly money that runs like a machine. That's your 9 to 5. But for those of us who are business owners, that's our cash flow. Our businesses is our cash flow. So you want to always invest in businesses. The businesses allow you to have what I call your own autonomy. You know, you're not having to ask anyone for a vacation. I'm just not good for that. I'm not a good employee, right? I'm a very bad employee because something in me just doesn't sit. That's why like slavery really bothers me on a personal level, because I can't imagine someone having control over my life. Like it really bothers me. Like when I was a young kid and I found out that our people were enslaved around the world, it really messed my head up. And it still does to this day. That's why I couldn't join a lot of these Hebrew-based religions, is because slavery is like sanctioned. Like, that's another conversation. Like it's actually agreed to, like that you can enslave people. And so for me, I could never be in a position where I have to ask another man or be comfortable asking another man or woman if I can take a vacation, or sometimes even ask for a bathroom break as an adult. So it just never sat, 9 to 5s never sat right with me. So I said, if I'm not going to be an employee, I better be a business owner. So I need to study business and I need to be entrepreneurial. And that's what I've done, because I'm just bad soil as an employee. It just does not sit right with me. Some people, it's okay. I just can't do it. So cash flow becomes an issue. Everyone has to solve their cash flow problem, which is you need to make more money than what your expenses are. And so your business, if you're going to have a business, and you have a job at the same time, you quit your job when your business is making you more money per month for 6 consecutive months, at least. So once you, like, let's just say you make $3,000 a week and you hate your job, but you need it to pay bills, or $3,000 a month, let's just say, and you're making, $36,000 a year. Don't quit your job unless you can make, but if you're making $3,000 a month, I would say still hold on to your job and try to have your business double that income for 6 months consecutively, and then you can quit your job. And there's some people who do both. They'll keep a job and still do their businesses, but the point is to increase your cash flow. Okay? Increase your cash flow, because you're increasing your cash flow so you can invest. Because the investment is what's going to give you ultimate freedom. The ultimate freedom is when you can sit on the beach on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. and you don't have no worries about money or anything, because your investments are taking care of itself. This is where I'd like to see everyone. I've been in this position for the last probably 20 years of my life, where I can literally sit on the beach on any day of the week and just relax. But I don't relax per se, because fun for me is making money and starting businesses. So my idea of fun is completely different than most people. But I would love to see everybody economically free. And there's a methodology to it. It's a science to it. And because it's a science, that means that you can replicate the results. And it's important, if you are one who takes your freedom seriously, like your personal freedom seriously, then you're going to want to take investing seriously, right? I like to be in control of my time. I like to be able to do whatever I want with my day. And I like to, what I call, design my life. And if you don't design your life, someone will design your life for you in the form of an oppressive 9 to 5, or being fired whenever they want to fire you. It's not a position you want to be in. It's not a position you want your children to be in. So I'm just giving you all an opportunity to look at the other side of the world and how wealthy people operate, in that you, from humble beginnings, can also become wealthy if you understand how to do these things. And I've shown you that with as little as $100 a month, you can actually build your portfolio to $1 million over the span of 10 years. $500 a month, $3 million. So it's like, if you just understand this stuff, man, and it's very unfortunate that our parents never knew this. Very unfortunate that our school system never taught us this, because most of you all who are hearing this and you're tuning into this show, man, you all picked this up from one episode. So imagine if I can teach you this in 2 hours. What the hell was the educational system doing for us for 18 years? 20 years of going to school and not picking up this information that could be easily taught in 2 hours. That lets you know that it's purposeful. They purposefully want you to be struggling, and they purposefully want you, because this is the way that they can control you. And they want you purposefully tethered to where you live so that you don't get to see the rest of the world and have a real world view. Because there's a lot of adults who have all these opinions but never left the country, or never left their block, never left their state. But they got all these opinions about the world, but they never traveled. And so, like, when I hear people talk, and I kind of laugh inside, because I can tell they never traveled and really saw the world and learned other languages and other cultures, and see that there's something greater than the place where they were born. That there's actually opportunities all around the world to meet different people, to have different relationships, to learn different histories, to learn and see the earth. Because here's the deal. It's hard to say that you're from Earth and you ain't seen the earth. I'm from the planet Earth, but I haven't seen the planet Earth. And the reason why you haven't been able to is because you're tethered to your job. But imagine if you're not tethered to your job and you can actually travel and see the world. I can tell you all right now that
you preaching. Hold on a minute. You're tethered to your job. How could you be a man of the earth and ain't seen that? Talk that talk, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, but most people's lives are completely circumstantial. What I mean is that you never control where you were born. You never controlled, certain circumstances that were dealt you, but you certainly can make proactive changes. And I've met people, man, I've met people who've come from poverty, and they are completely economically free now when you sit down and talk to them. Because I've been fortunate to design my life in a way that I've lived in different countries. I was born in Ghana. I grew up in Chicago. I went to university and law school in Boston. So I lived in Boston for like 8 years, right? I lived in Miami for several years. And during that time, I lived in the Caribbean. I've lived in Jamaica. I've spent a lot of time in Barbados. I've spent time, and I spent close to a decade in the Virgin Islands. I've lived in Nigeria. I've lived in Ghana, and I've lived in Rwanda. I've spent time in Kenya and Tanzania. So I've been able to see the world. So I've been able to formulate my worldview based on real life experiences and not rumors and innuendos. And I have loving, lifelong relationships from people all over the world. And I think that that's where you'd want to be as a human being on this planet, to not limit your human relationships to your block, right? You have a very limited view of the world. And I always tell a story of when I used to live in Brooklyn. I'll never forget sitting down with some folks, and I was saying that I had to leave because I had to go to Harlem and catch the A train. So those are the us who know New York, the A train is express train from Brooklyn to Harlem, right? And I'll never forget, he was like maybe a 25-year-old kid asked me, "What's Harlem like?" This is a kid who lived in Brooklyn. He'd never been to Harlem. Like, he'd been in Brooklyn all his life and never even hopped on a train, which is like maybe $1.85 at the time. And I was shocked. It's like, "What's Harlem like?" I said, "You know what? Next time I'm going to take you to Harlem with me. And we actually took this kid to Harlem. He's looking around. He's, oh, this is the Apollo. You get what I'm saying? Like this is real.
That's
This is
real.
real. So
That's
imagine
real.
that kid growing up to be an adult and has all of these opinions about the world, and he's only been in Brooklyn.
But that be the one with the most opinions.
That'd
the
be the
one who
people with the
stayed,
most
who ain't
opinions.
been pat. He never saw Coney Island.
Yeah, never. And it
People,
goes
I don't think
further.
people be understanding that. Like, there's literally people in New York from Brooklyn that have never left Brooklyn.
Yeah.
My dad,
I've
I don't
met
mean to
them.
blow my father up, but my dad is literally 78 and he's in Charlotte. He went to Charlotte to see his daughter, to see our sister. And I think that might have been the first time that I know, me personally. He might have traveled before, but this is the first time that I know he left New York. He never
Yeah.
left New York. I mean, he's been to Martha's Vineyard and other places, but he's never gone the opposite direction. Nope.
Right. Now, imagine, let's extrapolate that. Imagine you're born in America and you never left America. But you got all these opinions.
I would say percentage wise, that would be the majority, not the minority.
Yeah, especially black folks in America. Black folks in America have the least percentage of passports that actually have passports. So that's why, like, you know, when I hear people, and you know, not to go off course, but this is it needs to be spoken about. There is, you know, growing up in America as somebody who was born in Africa, growing up in America, there's so much misinformation about Africa to people in America that they just have no sense of what's really happening in Africa. And then there's people in Africa who've never come to America that don't really understand what America is, because all they can do is get a sense of America from rumors and innuendo, right? And so what has happened is that on both sides of the water, we have the powers that be propagandizing our minds. And I can tell you that one of the best things that I've done for brothers in this country is, there's one brother in particular, I'll bring him up. His name is Howard Dorsey. He 2 years ago, he came to Africa with me. We were in Gambia at the time. Me and another brother, big up Kwame. This brother's from Jamaica, and we decided that we were going to start a block making factory in Gambia. So we did. And this brother, Howard Dorsey, from DC and Pennsylvania, came too. He met us in Gambia. It was his first time in Africa. And when he got to Africa, it's like you could tell his whole world opened up, because he actually saw Africa from his own eyes instead of rumors and innuendo from someone else. And of course, Howard Dorsey's looking to buy land and, you know, move to Africa, because, you know, he would say, this is the first time I could sleep in peace. And what a lot of black folks don't realize is that you don't realize how much stress you're carrying in America until you leave America, where when you wake up, particularly on the continent, you feel a lot of pressure lifted from your body. And when you come back to America and you go through immigration, you feel that pressure come right back on you, because you know that you're literally persona non grata through the history of this country, and you want to go to a place where you don't feel that way. And a lot of black people on earth, particularly in the Western Hemisphere, have never had that feeling in terms of a sense of belonging. And almost to a number, people feel that when they go back to the continent. And you should just talk to people. And the way that you're able to do that is if you have some type of income, or you've invested properly, or what have you, because most people, you have to stay where your job is. And that was really interesting, is that what COVID showed us was that you literally could work remotely, right? They had everyone reporting at work before COVID, and all of a sudden COVID happened, and now all of a sudden you can work from home. And actually, Brother Phil, Red Pill, COVID showed us the fraud of the work system, because it showed us that people actually didn't need to go to work. You actually could have worked from home, but the only reason why they had you reporting was to discipline you.
And
right?
your sweat equity. They were
Yeah, well, it's just
they
to
were aura
discipline you.
farming. Yeah,
We want you at this place so that
at
we
this
can
place at
monitor
this
you.
time.
Yes,
Don't be
yes.
late.
Don't,
That's
yes,
why the
exactly.
sister got $4 million. She was fired for being late 11 times, but she was able to beat them in court and caught a few million off of them. Like, don't play with me, Have me
Yeah,
reporting. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, this is the 2020 saw the collapse of what we know as the organized reality. So what they call normal is no longer normal. There's a new normal, but everything has changed over the past or the course of 6 years. And every day that we wake up, it is collectively collapsing.
Mm-hmm.
So as we collectively watch this agreed upon reality shatter in front of us and fall to pieces, because we know, like you said a minute ago, there's a real world that exists that we're not living in right now at the moment. The real world that really exists, where there's a living world, is us being on a beach in nature, no worries, bills paid and whatnot, sun gazing, sunbathing, eating what we want off of the tree, not buying it from the store. Actually, sometimes the food walking up to us and introducing itself, not dealing with all of the fake things about this, your children playing freely, open fields, off grid. That's the real world. That's the living world. That's the world
Yeah.
that they don't know, they don't want you to know about. And they set it up to whereas even if you experience it in retirement, you only have a few years to experience it.
It is. It's
So
true. And let me be clear on something too for people. Um, and I gotta talk because you know how I'm telling you all about these stocks to pick. I would be remiss if I didn't share with you the opportunities that exist on the continent. And really, this whole there's this like little enclave of people in America. Well, there's a bigger enclave of what white people have done educationally in terms of telling us about Africa. But I always knew it was wrong because I was actually born in Africa. So when they talk, I'm like, no, that's not true. You know what I mean? Like if you were born in Harlem and people telling you about Harlem, like, no, that's not true. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna tell you, oh, people shooting each other every day in Harlem, killing each other. Man, let me tell you something. If I was to read about Harlem and in terms of modern Harlem and what people were saying about Harlem in the last 20 years, I would never want to go to Harlem. But I've been in Harlem and lived in Harlem. Big up Abiodun Ayowele from Glass Poets, where I would always go to his house in Morningside. The amount of love I get in Harlem is on a whole different level. Harlem is a beloved place to me. But if I was to listen to the propaganda, they would want us to keep away from Harlem. And then what happens? It gets gentrified with the same people who've been telling you to stay away from Harlem are buying land in Harlem. Right? Well, the same thing applies to Africa. So the people who tell you, oh, Africa ain't nothing. Oh, they trying to get black people to go to Africa and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And no, we don't want to go to Africa. But over my dead body, I'm not going to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like you got people saying, and you don't realize what's happening in Africa in terms of wealth creation. It's astonishing the opportunities that are on the continent that would fall in your lap if you went there as a business person, as an investor. And it literally, you have, if you're into manufacturing, you have all of the raw materials there that makes Africa literally the most valuable continent on earth and a valuable piece of real estate. So if you're a business person, you look at Africa completely different. And if you're an investor, you look at Africa completely different because that's where you can actually build an empire. You literally can build an empire in Africa if you know what you're doing. And this is what I'm doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not listening to the chatter that people have been trying to propagandize about our continent for how many years. The bottom line is this: find yourself in a place where you can thrive. But you'll never know if you don't travel. If you think that the place where you're born is the best place on earth, right? If you were born in Brooklyn, you think Brooklyn is the best city on earth, and you never left Brooklyn, then what is your sample size? You see, it's a trick so that we don't actually reclaim what's ours. Because here's the bottom line. There's what you call the North and the South. The northern countries are all the wealthy countries, but they don't have the raw materials. I'm not even talking about race. Look at the northern countries and the southern. The southern countries, the countries of the south have all the raw materials. The countries from the north, you know, Sweden is a wealthy country. Norway is a wealthy country. England is a wealthy country. France is a wealthy country. All these countries are wealthy, but they're the northern countries. Why are the northern countries wealthy while the southern countries, South America, Africa, are seen as developing countries? That's because the northern countries are literally leeching off of the southern countries. So if the southern countries were worthless, there would be no leeching happening because you would have nothing to leech from. So if you realize that, then you start to say strategically, these are the places I need to be to start developing myself, because all the wealth from the West or the North comes from the South. This is just facts. You know, there's no raw material. There's no gold in London unless it's been imported from the countries that they colonized. France the same way. And they have to keep doing this because they really don't have natural resources like that. So what happens when the people, which is the melanated people of the earth, which are tropical people, decide to get serious about the resources that's under our feet? The world changes. And of course, I have a master plan for this. And the point of the matter is that I want to go where the gold is, the oil is, the plutonium is, the iron ore. I want to go where the bauxite is. I want to go where all of these things are on the African continent. It's just about the African people worldwide organizing this. And if you are interested in this, then you're just going to go book a ticket and go see for yourself. And like this person said, it's true. Post break, inexperience, that weight come off me when I touched down in Accra, Ghana, in South Africa. Facts, the stress just disappeared. I did have to battle the propaganda in my mind, though, and that's real. And this person got me laughing. Cairo, the one, says facts. I think they were referring to when people were able to work remotely. Proved that actually people didn't have to show up to work. Cairo got me laughing, saying facts. They was trying to aura farming at a warehouse job. SMH had to leave. Aura farming, I like that. Is it? Yeah, bi-weekly meetings about gender and rules. Yeah, all that type of foolishness that you got to deal with at a job. You know what I'm saying? Someone wants the London event, so I'll share that one more time. Let me see if I can. I think this person is probably watching through Know the Ledge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen, and you can just do a screenshot of the screen, and you can have the URL link. Okay. So you can just take a picture with your phone, and then you can have the URL link, because I don't think that I will be able to. Let me see if I'm able to post a comment here. I don't know if you got this. I posted it here. And hopefully it goes to the YouTube. That's the link there. Okay. Global Legacy Builders Paperform.co. And I'm going to share the page with you all. That's London, July 11th. And if you want to know more, you can just hit me up at herbalresults.net, info@herbalresults.net, and I can send you the link as well. Okay. But this is it here. We'll be at the Doubletree by Hilton in London, Kensington, 100 Cromwell Road. And it should be a historic lecture. It's looking to be standing room only. And we'll be starting at noon, and we'll be going on all the way to 6 p.m. Okay. Saturday, July 11th, 2026. Hope to see you all there. Those of you who can make it, bring your friends, your family, your grandma, all of them. They got any issues, it'll be addressed health-wise at the lecture, because most people are suffering from the same things. It's either high blood pressure, diabetes, autoimmune, or cancer, or kidney failure. It's all the same stuff, okay? And we address it. Some other people had some comments. Some really cool people commenting on this, sharing their experiences of why. Kai Wilson, the powerful Kai Wilson, a white guy told me not to go to Africa because they don't have good health care. That's so hilarious. And What people don't like in places like Rwanda and Nairobi, what they don't know is that people are doing literally health tourism in these countries. You know why? Because it's cheaper to get an MRI in Nairobi than it is in California. So you literally, or New York, you can actually book a ticket, a round trip ticket, and get an MRI in Kenya. Your price of your ticket, your hotel, and the MRI will be cheaper than your MRI in New York. This is just fact. So people are actually traveling, doing medical tourism in places like Kenya, places like Rwanda, places like China, Singapore, Turkey. People are going for medical, Mexico, people are going for cheaper medical services. You know, someone says, post break. Yep, same for me in Ghana, South Africa. The love is good. Oh, absolutely. And the only people can talk about is people who've actually exercised their passports and actually have gone to these places. Other than that, you're just talking from emotions that you've been put in your head by the forces of division, right? It's easy to divide Black folks. It's something that we've been doing for a long time to no avail, right? I told you all about Gabriel of the Prosser plantation where I was in Richmond this weekend, and I really felt that Gabriel energy. He did one of the first slave revolts in Richmond, Virginia, which he was actually partnering with the Haitians. And he had, just like Denmark Vesey, because at that time the Haitian Revolution was popping off in the 1800s from 1791 on. I talked about that extensively. People don't understand that we've always cooperated with each other, but this division has stopped us. And there were two people who snitched on him because they believed in division of Black people. Like, you know, you work at this plantation, I work at that plantation, you this, you're that. And so I'm going to tell on you, basically. And I'm going to side with our white slave masters. And those two names was a guy named Tom, Black man named Tom, and a Black man named Pharaoh. They're the ones who snitched on Gabriel Prosser. And then when you look at Nat Turner, there's people who snitched on him too. We can say their names too. And then you go to Denmark Vesey, snitches again. And these were people who did not believe in Black unity or Black liberation. And these people still exist today. Just like when I talk about, some of these concepts now, you're going to have people chime in and talk about, separation in some type of way. These forces always exist, but the ones who want to unify are the ones who make history in a positive way. The ones who want to divide are the ones who became the historical enemies of our people, like Tom and Pharaoh and these guys who snitched on Gabriel Prosser when Gabriel Prosser was working to unite us, because he literally had 1,000 Black folks ready on August, I think it was August 30th, 1800. But it was a big rainstorm, and it set things back, and he got snitched on. Okay, so unity is the key. Anyone who tries to divide, just understand that they're going to zero. As a mathematical concept, division seeks to go to zero. Multiplication is gone through unity. The unity of numbers and the combining of numbers goes to infinity. So if you want infinite power, infinite influence, infinite strength amongst your people, you unify. If you want to go to zero, you divide. That's it. Okay? I don't know how many times I got to tell people this, but that's just what it is. And we can go over all types of historical examples. The division of Black people is easy. It's low-hanging fruit. We can divide ourselves based on religion. We can divide ourselves based on national origin, the place where we happen to come out of the womb of our mothers. We can divide ourselves based on what? Zip codes. We can divide ourselves based on skin complexion. But just understand, the rest of the people on this planet look at all of us the same. Whether you're a Black person from Australia, you're a Black person from New York, you're a Black person from Accra, you're a Black person from England, you're a Black person from France, the rest of the world sees us, looks at us, and treats us accordingly to how they feel about Black people. They don't care where you're born. They don't care about your religion. They don't care about none of that. So, for us to think that we're better than each other because of where we were born and all of these conversations that take place, it's a fool's errand. And I welcome you to it, and good luck. But over here, we're talking about universal unity, period. Okay? And that's just what it is. You don't like it, you don't like it. I don't care. So this is what we're going to keep doing, letting you all know how we're coming up. We're going to talk about some of these opportunities on the continent and in the Caribbean. We're going to look at the Caribbean stock markets, the African stock markets. We're going to look at real return on capital. There is a great investor, and I'm going to play that. Like, there's this investor. He's a very successful man. He's a white man. And he said that in all of his investments in the last 10 years, his greatest return on capital has been his African investments. And I'm going to let a white man tell y'all, because there's some of us who love to hear things come from white men as validation. Like, because if you don't want to hear it from me, I'll let a good white source tell you about the power of investing in Africa. And I might share that next week. And I'm doing that because of some of the comments that I'm seeing. Anytime I bring up Africa, I start seeing words like delineation and, oh no, you're bringing up Africa and this and that. And I want you all to hate me. Those of you all who have that position, please hate me, because I know where I'm supposed to be in terms of where we're going historically. And people like you are supposed to hate me. If you hate Africa, you're supposed to hate me. If you hate the unity of Black people, you're supposed to hate me. And I thrive off of that hatred. And then I thrive off of the love of those of you who understand what our mission is supposed to be. Because what happened to us was a global decimation. And we're only going to solve our problem through global unity. You know, Jewish people don't care where you're born, right? You either support Israel or you don't. They don't care if you were born in, you know, Paraguay or Uruguay. They don't care. If you're a Jew, you're a Jew. And that's how they unite. I don't agree with what they're doing, but they're a very unified force, and they don't divide themselves based on national origin. So I don't know where Black people thought that that was like the thing to do. But, you know, good luck to y'all who have that position, man. You know, it is what it is. The majority of us are going to keep doing what we're doing to make sure that Black people worldwide are empowered and able to actually bring value to our children, because no one cares about where you were born. Chinese people don't care where you were born if you're Black. They don't care where you were raised. They don't care if you listen to hip hop or reggae. They don't care if you they don't care if you eat chitlins or you eat fufu. They don't give a damn. They treat you accordingly because you're a Black person. And it's like some of us just can't wrap that around our heads, that like the whole world perceives you a certain way, but you want to perceive yourself another way, right? That's that Caitlyn Jenner syndrome, right? You perceive yourself as a woman, but the whole world sees you as a man. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not playing any games with y'all. I'm not. And if y'all hate me, that's good. You hated me already anyway. So it is what it is, man. But those who y'all got love, we're building together. We're going to build our empires together. We're going to make it right for our children, so our children do not have to be burdened by a lack of economic choices. And that is our role as parents. You know, forget the politics. Let's just talk about self-preservation. Our role of parents is to make the lives of our children better than the lives that we had. And so if you can't get with this, you can't understand this, then it is what it is. We don't need everybody. We just need a few people to be on point. And so hopefully this has been helpful to y'all. I know I kind of, you know, waxed a little bit poetic and went on a little diatribe, but, you know, I see certain things and it sets me off, man, because I understand what losing looks like and I understand what winning looks like.
Right.
I really understand what losing and winning looks like. And
it's so good. Yeah, you got to speak to it sometimes. A lot of people are exposed to one-sided arguments in terms of the xenophobia that's being expressed. And, you know, there's some rightful arguments taking place about abuse on both sides. However, I like to focus on the solutions. However, I like to focus on the fact that it ain't when you from, it's where you at. You got to get out there and move around and see how the world reacts to you. I went to South America. I moved around with love in my heart. I moved around with knowledge in my heart. I moved around with awareness in my mind. I knew where I was at. I studied where I was going. And, you know, I was one with the community. Wherever I was at, I was one with them. I wasn't going against it. I wasn't all mad that I was there. I was in perfect alignment, and that world opened up to me. Everywhere that I went, it opened up. And I saw the good, bad, and ugly. I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I wasn't accusing generalizing and condemning the people for that.
Absolutely.
You feel me? No,
Absolutely.
not at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, I'll just put it in like simple terms. I grew up in Chicago.
Yeah, shot time.
Right? I grew up in Chicago, and I have friends in Chicago I grew up with from childhood who are still my friends to today. And it's nothing but love in Chicago for me. But someone who's never been to Chicago would read the news about Chicago and think that Chicago is a place where you should never go.
Right. Oh my goodness. They'd be
You understand what I'm saying? That's because the people never traveled to Chicago and they've never been to Chicago. So their ideas about Chicago is based on rumors and innuendo and marketing propaganda to make you not go to Chicago. And what you're going to find out is whenever you see these things, that's when the economic predators come in and start buying land for cheap. This happened to Detroit, where they told you stay away from Detroit, but the people, the investors, were able to buy whole buildings for like $10 in Detroit.
Right. They were blind.
$10.
Right.
But they told you to stay out.
Exactly.
Right? They told you to be scared of your own people.
Exactly. You know? When I arrived there in 2016, I was smitten by what I saw. I was blown away by how much development was taking place at the hands of young Black people. I mean, blocks and blocks, right? Then when I went to Chicago, I was literally downtown. I think that's Union Station. I mean, I walked like a pedestrian just so I could absorb the beauty of Chicago. I was walking and just looking, and I was amazed by how dope it was. I got on the train just so I could see on some New York thing. I wanted to see the scenic routes. Like, I love Chicago. It's beautiful.
Man, Chicago, and the people are just on some.
The people are
different.
When
man.
I saw
I'll tell
the
you
shoreline,
one thing. Yeah. When you go Lakeshore Drive,
when I saw the shoreline, I was.
I'm gonna say this about the people of Chicago. So I've lived in so many different cities, right? I would say probably Jamaica is probably number one in terms of like a place where you go and you will laugh because the people are so funny, the stories they tell, right? Probably Jamaica's number one. And then probably number two, maybe Lagos, Nigeria. But number three, the personality of the people in Chicago. That's why some of the top comedians come from Chicago, you know.
Right.
Like there's a culture in Chicago, like, you know, some people call it snapping, jonesing, or whatever it is, like how we make fun of each other. But growing up in Chicago, man, I'm gonna tell you, I don't think that there's anybody funnier than like the people in Chicago, man. Like the sense of humor that people have in Chicago, man, like the way people talk shit in Chicago, right. It's different, man. It's a different level. And you'll be in Chicago, and if you meet, you know, the right people, of course, or even just the average Chicago, you'll just start laughing, man. I remember, I'll never forget, man. I remember I was in Miami, right? And I was on South Beach, and I seen a group of sisters, and somehow we just started talking. I heard the way they were talking, like, you know, Chicago people say funna, you know, like instead of finna, they say funna. I said, you from Chi-Town? They were like, hell yeah. We started talking, and man, I was dying with laughter, man, just from the language and the sense of humor, man. And so it's a real shame that Chicago's being cast in this light that like, oh, this is a place you don't want to go and this and that, because people are really missing out on the beauty and the personality of the Chicago spirit, man. Like the people in Chicago are some of the funniest characters that you ever will meet. And even these comedians that come out of Chicago, like Bernie Mac and who's the other guys? Who's this guy? Corey Holcomb and Dion Cole and all these other, you know, great Chicago comics. They will all tell you that they weren't the funniest people out of their friends. Like the people I grew up with were some of the funniest ass people. If they became comedians, like the Chicago folks I grew up with, right. If they became comedians, they'd be probably some of the most famous comedians on earth, because people are just naturally funny, man. Because Chicago is a really interesting place, because most people from Chicago, you know, they came up through the South. I mean, most black people came up through the South, but it's actually quite recent when when they started doing factories, right? So most of my friends I grew up in Chicago, their grandparents were all in Mississippi or Alabama. So every summer they would always go to Mississippi or Alabama. So the Chicago accent is a mix of a city accent and a country accent. So it's a real interesting thing, right? But like the slang in Chicago, you know, the word mug is a word, you know, like it's cold in a mug, it's hot in a mug. You know, like Chicago, Chicago.
Sure. Yeah, they got slang out there unparalleled.
Yeah. I mean, New York got slang too. You know, New York is a whole different beast, man. But yeah, Chicago doesn't get enough of credit for the people there and the beauty of the personalities of Chicago, man. And so when I hear about Chicago and people speak bad about Chicago, I always ask them, have you been to Chicago? And they'll say no. And all they're getting is like drill music and, you know, hearing about this person getting shot and this. And I'm like, that's not Chicago. It happens, but that is not what Chicago's about, man. And so I'm clear on that. Like people who have these images of places, it's like Jamaica. They'll tell you don't go to the garrisons and don't go here. But I'm in Jamaica, like getting love. And I'm seeing it for myself. And I'm like, man, people telling you all these stories, man. But if you don't go there yourself, you don't really know what's going on, because most of what you're being fed is propaganda from other people who want to devalue a place so they can swoop it in and buy it for cents on the dollar. That's what's going on. Whether it's Africa, Chicago, Jamaica, Haiti, especially. Haiti's a whole different thing. When I went to Haiti, my mind was blown. It was one of the most beautiful places I ever been. Was there poverty? Yes, there was poverty. But were people like screw face and ready to shoot you and kill you? No, because people were living in communities and in these places where they even call poverty, you have what you call social systems where people take care of each other. So you have this social connection where everyone knows each other and everyone's connected and the neighbors know each other and the neighbors raise each other and all of that. You know, there's no such thing as being in Haiti and Africa and not knowing your neighbor, because your neighbor is going to be disciplining your children and watching out for your children and all this. And that community stuff is still there. And a lot of people from America are missing that community connection where you can live next to your neighbor and not even talk to them for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So these are experiences that people need to have, man. People need to break out of their shell and just see the world. That's what HERU is telling you, is get your passport, exercise your passport, and open up your horizons to the world, because what they may have told you about different places may not turn out to be true. And it definitely won't turn out to be true. But the only way you can do that is if you have some financial freedom so you can move when you want, how you want. And so that's why we do what we do. All right?
Nah, for sure.
So yeah, man. So I mean, people asking questions. Someone's talking about Chicago, crucial conflict. A Chicago native told me the culture groomed themselves from legit to talk shit. Yes, they pride themselves being able to talk shit back and forth with your mama jokes, and you get up and yeah, that's Chicago, man. Chicago's a special place, man. When I grew up, my childhood there, I had one of the best childhoods. Growing up in Chicago, you know, it prepared me for the world. And I got nothing but love when I think about Chicago, man. The people of Chicago, the average person in Chicago is a great, great personality. You know what I mean? And so enough respect to Chicago. Someone said the Caribbean, HERU, you need to travel to the Caribbean Antilles. And so what I'm going to do is I'm about to ask, what islands are in the Caribbean Antilles? Because I probably have been there, but Caribbean Antilles. I mean, I got a little time. I'm having some fun. So I just want to see the island countries that are considered the Caribbean Antilles. What are we talking about? Well, they have the Greater Antilles, they have the lesser. So the Greater Antilles is Cuba, Hispaniola, which is Dominican Republic and Haiti, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Cayman. So I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to Jamaica, I've been to Haiti, and I've been to the Dominican Republic. I've not been to Cuba. I think this person was talking about the Lesser Antilles, what they're calling the Lesser Antilles. That's St. Kitts. So St. Kitts is the first Caribbean island I've ever been to. You know what I mean? I was invited there when I was a poet. Big up Ras Zambo. Ras Zambo was the leading figure of the Rastafari House of Nyabingi, who invited me after he heard my CD to come
perform at Black Liberation Day or African Liberation Day in St. Kitts. And that was the time when this was in the year 2000. And this was before September 11th. So you could literally travel to the Caribbean just with your driver's license. You didn't even need a passport. So I went with my driver's license, St. Kitts. That's the first place I've been. And just for the men, you know, here, just to tell y'all, some of the most beautiful women that I've ever seen, natural beauty, Black women, natural beauty with no makeup, was in St. Kitts. I couldn't believe it.
Where my grandmama from, bro. Yeah, my mother's mother.
Yes, okay, sir. Yeah. It's very beautiful, beautiful people in St. Kitts. Someone saying the BB Toomey conference. Yes, Ja Eyewitness, big up the powerful Genesis. Y'all should check out his music. Genesis got some great music, man. He's talking about the BB Toomey conference going to Ghana. Yes, we're gonna all look to go to Ghana for the BB Toomey, which is a Black Power conference on the continent. Someone said something. Yeah, so the Lesser Antilles, y'all. Yes, I've been there. Dominica. My wife is from Dominica. I own land in Dominica. I got 3 acres of land in Dominica. Barbados, stomping grounds, you know, what you all know about Oystons, you know what I'm saying? I used to hang out in the parish called Christ Church in Barbados, and go walk to Oystons, man, where they, you know, they do live cooking there. And big up to all the family in Barbados. I spent a lot of time in Barbados, performed a lot in Barbados as well when I was a poet, and I love my people in Barbados as well. I got long life relationships and friendships in Barbados. So yeah, I've been to the Antilles, y'all. I've been to the Lesser Antilles, and I don't know if the Virgin Islands is considered the Antilles, or is that, you know, they have like Leeward Islands and Windward Islands, and so they separate through interesting separations. But yeah, I mean, I lived in St. Thomas Virgin Islands for about a decade. Big up to the VI Massive, you know what I'm saying?
You go to the VI.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I've been to a lot of these places, man, and spent a lot of time and have meaningful relationships with people there. Yep. Someone said Christ Church. Yeah, Christ Church. That's the parish there. Exactly.
Christianstead.
Yep. Well, Christianstead, that's Christ Church is in Barbados, but Christianstead, that's what they call East.
Yeah, East and Frederickstead as well.
In St. Croix. Big up on my Crucian Massive, you know.
They split it in 2.
Yeah, you know. And then in the middle you have Grove, you know. I used to spend time in Grove in St. Croix. Big up to Naomi Ganji, you know. Vieques. All right, everyone's shouting themselves out. Puerto Rico. I used to fly to Puerto Rico every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I just went to Puerto Rico before I went to Bogota. I was loving it out there. Puerto Rico made me want to snatch some land immediately. In Puerto Rico.
Yes, Puerto Rico
somewhere right off out in the cut in the mountains somewhere. Build up a nice little house.
Yeah, man.
And raise some babies.
For 2 years, I used to fly I used to work at the University of Virgin Islands, and I used to fly to Puerto Rico every week, I believe, or every 2 weeks. I used to fly to Puerto Rico at one of their universities there, Universidad de something. And I used to work in their work with them on renewable energy projects. And that's actually how I found out that most of the rice that we eat is tainted with arsenic, because they had a laboratory there and they were testing grocery food for heavy metal poison, And they found out that all the rice in the grocery stores have arsenic in it. So I'll never forget that. So yeah, that was Puerto Rico. Someone said the Netherlands. They're talking about the Netherlands Antilles. The Netherlands Antilles. Were we talking about St. Martin? Hold on. So Netherlands Antilles. And you're talking about like Curacao and Aruba? Netherlands Antilles. All right. I just want to see what countries this person's talking about, which islands. Netherlands Antilles, the Dutch Antilles. That would be the ABC Islands. Yeah, that's Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao. I have not been to those. St. Martin is right down the ocean from, I've been to St. Martin, not spent a lot of time there, but I've been to St. Martin because right by St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands. Actually, you have to sometimes catch a plane in St. Martin to switch to go to the other Caribbean islands if you flew some of the different airlines there. St. Martin was a big port there. So yeah, I've been there, but I have not been to Aruba. I've not been to Bonaire or Curacao. So that's the Netherlands Antilles, I believe this person is talking about. Yeah, man. It's all good vibes, man. You meet good people everywhere, and you can have lifelong relationships, and that's what it's about. If you're gonna be on Earth, see the Earth, man. Someone says their sister-in-law is from St. Croix. Yeah, man. Big up Cruz, you know. So we're just doing a little few shout outs with the people who's commenting, man.
Who you got on the FIFA side, my brother?
You know, you'd be surprised. I haven't been watching. I haven't been watching soccer. I know you're talking about World Cup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I support any black team, man. But the crazy thing is that
a lot of them.
Here's the thing. Even the white teams are black teams.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Right? When you're talking about the Netherlands, they're getting people from Suriname.
That's what I'm saying.
This
is the colonizers' game.
Yeah, the colonizers are using us black folks to win their medals. That's what
Straight
they're
up.
doing.
With no,
one of the greatest soccer players of all time was a guy named Ruud Gullit, and he's from like Suriname, but he represents the Netherlands. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm sure the British team, I'm sure the British and the French team got all type of Africans on it. Like Caribbean people on it.
Look, it's a blatant. I'm actually creating some artwork right now that juxtaposes the all of the Moors that I see playing soccer, and I'm like, the audacity of these these colonizers and what we will call this is the Doctrine of Discovery World Cup, because all up and down, like the best player in Spain is a Moor. He's literally a Moor. He's Islamic. He's amalgamated. He's mixed. You could tell that he has either a Spanish father, a Spaniard dad, or Arabic. Yamil, right?
Well, we know that the Spanish language is heavily an Arabic language. When I was growing up, you had these baseball players from Spanish-speaking countries with Arabic last names, like Sandy Alomar. Al Omar,
right?
Yeah, Al Omar. And so, I remember studying a little Spanish sometime and seeing how many Spanish words are actually Arabic words.
That's all Moorish influence.
Yeah, it's all that influence.
That's
man.
all the influence. So the story is alive. It's only waiting for someone to tell it. Black Moroccan, right? So yes, the Black Moroccans, you have these Moroccans and whatnot, that whole history of North Africa, Morocco. When you talk about the history of Morocco, when it has to do with the Moors, how the Moors claim the Moroccan flag, all of these things are beginning to surface. So this is going to be a great summer for storytellers. Do not rest on your laurels. Don't wait. There's nothing to wait for. Everything is taking place at once. Tell the stories now. Get in front of it. Don't allow someone to get in front of your story. Take full advantage. Create intellectual property. Create installations. Use your knowledge. You are in a like, if this was on a soccer field, you are in an advantage over less seasoned players, because a lot of y'all been in school. You've been learning this stuff over the years. So I would say now's the time to strike.
Yeah, definitely. I know that in Spain, I want to go to I want to check out Alhambra Palace, man.
Yeah,
I
I
looked
do
at the
too.
architecture, and it's just beautiful, and I want to look at it. And there's a lot of comparisons. And in Morocco, they have this, like, I think it's the Blue Mosque there or something. There's some beautiful mosque that they have there. And then if you go farther south into Senegal with the Maurides, they have Touba. And Touba is a very interesting place, man. Like the history of Senegal and Islam that happened there. They started their own
dynasties.
Yeah, they started their own form of Islam, and they have brothers there with dreadlocks. They call themselves the Baifal. Like if you have dreadlocks in Senegal, they think you're Baifal. And Baifal, they're the followers of a guy named Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, who's the right-hand man of their most powerful leader called Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba.
Amadou Bamba.
Yes, and they built
Legend.
the biggest mosque in sub-Saharan Africa called Tuba. And it's very interesting because they've actually syncretized their own form of Islam, where, you know, the 5 pillars of Islam, according to the Arabic version of Islam that they have, which is the foundational Islam, is that you have to, you know, go to Mecca at least like once in your life to be like, you know, to be called a Hajj, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Murids don't go to Mecca, they go to Tuba. And you ask them why. They said because their ancestors are from Tuba, not Mecca.
Right.
So it's very interesting, man. And then you have the Baifal, they'll say they're Muslim, but they have an African form of Islam. And they don't pray. You ask them, like, why you guys don't pray 5 times a day? And they'll tell you, this is what they'll tell you. We don't pray because our ancestors prayed enough for us. All we have to do is work and learn. So they believe in work. So if you have Baifal people working to build your house, and let's say it's going to take 6 months to build a house, they'll build it in a month and a half because they take work as
Very
part
serious.
of, well, they take it as a spiritual endeavor. They also take learning as a spiritual endeavor. So you can go to Senegal and meet a Baifal. You can tell who they are from their hair. They have dreadlocks and they wear patch clothes. And you meet a Baifal person and they'll speak fluent Japanese. And you ask them, like, how did you learn Japanese? You ever been to Japan? They'll be like, no, we listen to tapes.
Right. We
listen to audio. And he's like, what? And they say, yeah, because learning is bringing you closer to God. So they'll pick different things, obscure things, and just master those things and learn things. And so for them, knowledge is a spiritual pursuit. And so seeing things like that has been inspirational for me, just seeing like, okay, you got all these Black folks in different parts of the world and how they get down and how they see the world is completely different. You can go to Sudan and you got a Black Muslim there, see the Islam differently than someone in Saudi Arabia or someone in Yemen and so you learn all of these things and you just sit back and you listen. And that's the thing about traveling. What traveling allows you to do is to exercise your ears.
Yes.
Instead of your mouth.
Yes.
Right? Where you get to listen and take in and understand that people got a whole independent history outside of the history you've got in a different part of the world. And the world has been ticking and moving in ways that you have no idea about. And traveling allows you to get a whole education that you cannot get in a classroom. So, you know, it's important for people to see different parts of the world, make different human relationships before you get some type of dogmatic view of what life really is about. Because if you ain't seen the earth, it's hard to say you're from the earth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So, yeah, this is outside, but you know, the wealth thing that we talk about, there's wealth more than money. There's wealth of experiences. There's wealth in freedom. There's wealth in, you know, liberating yourself and all of that, man. So it's like, you know, when we talk about wealth, it's more than just money, you know. And I think you wanted to add something to the stage. We got something going on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm adding this one right now where it says Moorish royalty. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So, like I was saying earlier, I'm creating a whole visual campaign to highlight the Moorish ancestry that is taking place on the world stage. I'm gonna use FIFA as the blackboard, right? And I'll be able to tell the story of the Moors through AI. I'm gonna go future, I'm gonna go history, I'm gonna go presence with it. So I'm gonna go back into the 14, 15, and 1600s. Then I'm gonna give them 2026, but then I'm gonna also give them 2030 when Africans learn about their Moorish legacy and the multiple dynasties, right? The multiple dynasties. And I'm gonna use one of their best players to basically tell a story that they can't run from now. Because now he's on the grand stage. Now, this is how you control the narrative. You snatch the narrative and tell a true story that they can't deny. They will want to deny it to anybody that's ignorant, but anybody that looks at him, you know what you're looking at, right? You know what you're looking at. On Tuesday, next Tuesday, can you click on the next flyer? We have an event in Atlanta called Techno Bowl, featuring me and the good brother Spin City, and I'm going to be teaching our brothers and sisters how to utilize all of the hot button topics. Because if we're going to do some dollar cost averaging, ladies and gentlemen, we should create some recurring assets that could help us with recurring funds every day. If we're going to take $100 a day and put it into these stocks, then I can help you create assets that will generate $100 a day. So right now we have the Knicks, that's still going crazy. We got FIFA 2026 going crazy. USA is turning 250. Michael Jackson, along with a few other things that are trending. I want to show you how to make money every day using AI tools, how to use AI video, how to use AI images. We do not have to sit around anymore and wait for anybody to do something for us. Play this video real quick. Shout out to my Imaginarium. I'm actually going to be doing a live inside of Imaginarium so we could talk about this income stream because summertime has started. So I'm calling this summer school. I want to get money every day.
It's right here.
How to use the AI. Time to start. You know, we have the goal. The goal is average. So now that we got the goal, now we know what selling these. We're gonna be creating these assets to generate funds on a daily basis, and we could also get we could also close accounts every day. We could also run down on brands, influencers, and we could secure $5,000, $10,000, $50,000 accounts with different businesses using the tools that we have available. So let's get busy, y'all.
This is the video you're talking about?
This is just one video. This is just one video. This is going viral. FIFA, right? So what I'm doing with these videos is that I'm geo-targeting the places outside of America where FIFA is big, like Mexico, Japan, North Korea, things of that nature. And then you know what I mean? There it goes. Techno Bowl IRL. Techno Bowl IRL. Next Tuesday, I will be in the building. Spin City will be in the building. We're going to be doing this live, but we're also going to be doing it online. I'm going to be teaching my people how to monetize AI right now. This picture alone, ladies and gentlemen, I've created this picture and I've sent this picture to Printify. What is Printify? Printify is a company that basically makes t-shirts, they make posters, they make framed artwork, they make blankets. I'm taking these art and I'm creating pictures, I'm creating t-shirt designs, I'm creating cups, thermal, you know, the thermals and whatnot. I'm creating posters for the summer. All of this is being monetized, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever's booming right now, I could put your image, I could put your product in front of an audience. We know how to do online marketing. We have Spin City, who is an expert in it. So yeah, I just sit back and make bread. I make designs that make money all day. So the money that I'm making all day, I'm able to now dollar cost average that money on a daily basis because this is an income stream that this is not even my bill money. This is my dollar cost average money.
Yes,
you feel me? This is my DCA money, bro.
Top Red Pill, top.
This is my DCA money, and
Yo,
I'm just using.
But Red Pill, just hold on for a second, right?
Yes.
Can you imagine if we're able to create this culture where DCA becomes part of the culture, just like, I don't know, whatever slang is popular or whatever people call popular, but it becomes something that is embedded with us as a people, the dollar cost average, and this becomes a thing for us, like as a people, then we would have done a great job, man.
Oh man, but we you know, we're gonna do it now because, like you said, there's no better time than the now. Ladies and gentlemen, lock in. It's summertime. We ain't gonna be doing this every other day. We really got to do this every day. We don't have nothing else to do but to get to the bag at this point. All you need is an hour a day. Don't consume yourself or over consume yourself and become manic or anything. Give yourself an hour or two of lining up the dollar cost average, find those 5 stocks that you really are feeling and whatnot, and then lock into 5 different income streams. Give that 1 hour to 2 hours of your energy. You have the automations, you have the tools, you have the workflows. Tap in with us. We're on school right now. I'm gonna drop the link so you could join school, become a member. We have students that are teaching. I mean, it's not just me. I have master students right now. They will show you how to get to it. They will show you what to do. They will show you how to create these assets and how to monetize them. We'll put you inside of a group called a pod, and we'll work together. This is not hard. And matter of fact, later on today, I have a workshop called Get Money with the good brother Hits IU, and we're showing you another way to get money with GitHub. So I don't have time to sleep right now.
Yeah,
Brother just said DCA. He gave us the play. The 5-year run. We could just run it up for 5 years. We don't have to, you know what I mean? We don't have to be short-term focused and whatnot. We could run it up for 5 years, and then we could also create another income stream where we're taking care of our bills, our right now, things that are in front of us. But we need cushion. We need cushion. And what is the cushion? The cushion is the DCA. I was doing DCA with Bitcoin right off of quote unquote Cash App. They were literally Cash App was doing DCA for me since like 2020, I believe they implemented it. 20 or 20, yeah, it was 20 because it was the pandemic. It was the pandemic. What would be a go-to app that you would say right now, both in Web 2 and in Web 3? I know that it's Robinhood, but what would be your go-to DCA app that somebody could set up right now and set it up to either their
probably the easiest one,
agents?
Yeah, the easiest DCA app is Cash App.
Okay,
that's the easiest one to do because it's just easy. The user interface is just very easy. You just go into stocks and then it tells you recurring investment. You could just do that very easily. I like Robinhood because I like the charts on Robinhood. I'm able to do more on Robinhood. I get more insight on Robinhood. It gives you better metrics on Robinhood in terms of like the performance of the stock. It gives you more details on the stock, those types of things. But if you just like identify the stocks that you want and you could use Cash App, you could. But there's a lot of people tuned into us internationally, and you can actually get in on these stocks that I'm talking about. If you don't live in the United States, you can go with Interactive Brokers, and you can also go with Charles Schwab. They have international accounts where people on an international level can buy any of these American-based stocks. Okay, so yeah, man. I see you starting to really start articulating this DCA, my brother, Red Pill. So bro, I'm hoping that you play a role, right? You know, because you got a way with words, man. You coin phrases very well. You know what I'm saying? Because I still tell people it's leg day. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Keep that going. These are mantras, my brother.
Yeah,
these are
mantras
to break the spell. Yeah. I use the word. First there was the word. I use the word as a sword. So in front of the word is you put the S and it becomes the sword. Right?
Yeah,
so
man.
As you was talking today, I wrote down 4 ideas because you know my wheels are turning. Dollar cost average for dummies. But I don't like to call people dummies.
Right.
Dollar cost average for whales.
Right.
Y'all can run with my idea. I'm going to Amazon real quick. I mean, show you how to become a whale.
Yeah, because
everybody
been
doing
calculator.
Baby Shark for too long, but nobody want to have a conversation on how to make a whale. If we had more Moby Dicks in the community, we would be in a better place.
Right.
Because that's literally the people that are moving things around in the world right now. It's a whole whales moving in units.
Right. No, man. I mean, I like it. I like your use of words. It catches on in terms of how the mind syncretizes information, man. So no, but like if you're able to make DCA a thing in our vernacular, man, you'd have done a lot for our people, man, because little children should be knowing what dollar cost average is, right? Because it's the safest way to become a millionaire.
Look,
right?
The brother said dollar cost Africans. No.
Dollar cost.
That's a ball.
Yeah, that's a bar. That's a bar. And that's Jah Eyewitness too. That's the good brother Genesis. Now, let me tell you all about this brother. And probably we should have him on this show one of these times, brother Genesis. Genesis is actually one of the smartest human beings I know and have met. And I don't just say it lightly. This brother is a engineer, a material scientist, engineer. The brother is also a musician. The brother is also a master of intellectual property and copyright registration and how to get money through your intellectual property. He has a whole business for that. So any musicians, anyone who does artwork of any type, you're gonna want to sit down and talk with Jah Eyewitness, because he can set you up where you're able to license your work to YouTube and license your work in different ways, where you actually become the aggregator of the IP and you get money straight off of the table, almost like a record label does. So Jah Eyewitness is a genius, and I hope that we will be graced with his presence in any of these coming weeks where he can talk about some of the work that he does. And he's also doing work with AI as well. So the brother's an engineer. The brother is part of the black box theory that I'm putting forward, because he has solutions. And so what we need to do is get brother Jah Eyewitness on at some point, aka brother Genesis. You know what I'm saying? I saw him this weekend in Richmond, and the brother is just an outstanding brother, and I could say he's as good of a human being as he is an intelligent human being. So it's very rare that you get that mix of intelligence and kindness and just a good human being, man. And I love that brother. And I just can't wait for the world to get exposed to his music, his work, and the things that he does, because he's a gem and he is an asset for me. So I have friends and I have family and I have a ledger, liabilities and assets, and he's on the asset side of the people that I know.
Right.
You know
the ledger.
Yeah, man. Know the ledger is real.
My network is my net worth. Right.
So Jah Eyewitness, someone's looking for you right now, wants to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
On Facebook, brother Jah Eyewitness. Oh, they need some other people asking for your info, Jah Eyewitness. Yo, I'm supposed to be planting mango trees right now, but we do have a couple more minutes. Brother Jah Eyewitness, you want to just tap in real quick and just talk about what you do? Oh, he's saying he can be reached. If you want to tap in with us, I can give you the call-in link, and you can just call in for a few minutes, introduce yourself, say what you do and how people can reach you, because this is a brother who is on a whole different level. And when I tell you that the brother is just one of the most intelligent people that I know, I really mean it. And he's a great resource to our people. And what I want to do, brother Jah Eyewitness, I'm going to put the call-in link on my Facebook. I think you're tuned in through Facebook. We'll do a few more minutes.
While we wait for the good brother.
Yeah, go ahead, Red Pill.
From you, what is a good date that we can do this think tank? I want to do the first session of a think tank.
This weekend's not good for me, but the next weekend's not good. The weekend after.
The weekend after, right? I would say I'm gonna do New York for the 4th of July, and then after that, I'm gonna gather my my consortium of. I'm gonna invite people during the African Arts Festival, which should be about 3 or 4 days. I'll be networking out there. We'll be performing.
Nice.
We'll be we'll have product. We're gonna do it real big. That'll be my my New York summertime launch party. You know, I'm gonna be doing. I got booked to do summer camp in August, and no, mid-July and in August in New York City, the Bronx specifically. So it's almost like I called out. I said that I want a residency, and just it didn't even take but 2 days, and I got the phone call. I got booked. You know, I'm gonna be a summer camp and a summer school teacher. You know, I'll be teaching AI to the children. I'm gonna be teaching them AI, but I'm also doing soccer and basketball as the kinetic sport, as the kinetic knowledge interface. So touching grass and touching glass, but we're gonna use the FIFA fever and also the NBA Knicks and 5 that whole aspect of sports to entice these children to learn the AI.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Brother Genesis, I just text you on WhatsApp and also on your phone with the link for you to call in. Just introduce yourself to the audience, because there's some people who definitely want to link with you. But yeah, check your phone, Brother Genesis. And if you prefer it through email, I can send it to you through email as well. Because we are going to be logging out. I'm late for a call I have to do, but I think this is important enough for us to stay on another 10 minutes just to introduce Brother Genesis to this great audience that we have, man. So check your phone, Genesis. If you need me to email you the link, I can do that as well. And I can do that right now, as a matter of fact. I don't want to have to post it. So I'm gonna need a lot of people calling in right now, but okay, I think Genesis is on. And let's have our good brother Genesis join us, and y'all are in for a treat. There we go. My brother.
Yes. What's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Yeah, man.
Always
Great information, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Always good to see you, man. Just tell the people about you, what you're doing in terms of, just talk about your background. You see, here's the thing, right? People meet me and they find out about what I've done in my life, and they're like so amazed. Oh, you used to be a lawyer, you used to do this, you used to be a poet, you used to do this. And my thing is like, I think that should be normal, because what happens is that in these societies that we're in, they want to pigeonhole you into one thing, right? So if you are an engineer, that's all you are. That's, you're an engineer. If you're a teacher, that's all you do. But we're multifaceted people. And one of my greatest heroes is Cheikh Anta Diop, right? Yeah. Cheikh Anta Diop was a multi-powered intellectual. He's what you call a polymath, right? Because he was a PhD in history, a PhD in chemistry, a PhD in linguistics. He was a master of all these things, and that's how he pieced together our history, because we're broken people, right? Our history has been broken up. We've been scattered and shattered around the world. And so you needed someone who was multidisciplinary to put all of these things together. And that's how, Cheikh Anta Diop came up with his book, Civilization of Barbarism, the African Origin of Civilization, which, by the way, when he was in France, they put him in an insane asylum, right? Because he said that ancient Egyptians were Black. They put him in an insane asylum. And then later on, when they released him from the asylum, he made a presentation at the UNESCO conference in like 1987 or something like that, proving that ancient Egyptians were Black through linguistic analysis, and then also through chemistry analysis of the skin of the pharaohs, right? Where he was able to actually see that the pharaohs were melanoderms. He had a pigment test that he developed because he trained with Madame Curie, who's the founder of radiation, right? And I think plutonium or radium she found. She was his teacher, right? So anyway, Cheikh Anta Diop. So I always knew that it's going to be necessary for us to be multidisciplinary as a people and as individuals to solve our problems. And so you, more than almost anybody I know, is a master, not a jack of all trades, but a master of many trades. You have this like varied history and having this expertise base. So please share it with people. Don't be humble, because I know you're very humble, but just let's talk about your background and all the things that you went from, the engineering and the science and the AI that you're doing and the music and the legal stuff that you do around copyright. So please take the floor.
All right. Bless up, every goodie. What's going on? Genesis Oshak Barrow out of Petersburg, VA. Man, I got to give all credit to my parents first. My parents raised me as a Pan-African. My father's Olamina of Awareness Sard Ensemble Reggae Band. And I just knew who I was from birth. So when I was sent to school with the mindset of, people used to say like math is hard. But my mindset was I invented math, So it's a little bit different. So
look at algebra, the word algebra. Algebra.
It's right there.
is the ancient Kemetic god of earth. Ra is the god of the sun, right?
For sure.
And you put the earth and the sun together, and the calculations of the distance of the earth and the sun was found through algebra. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So just, raised up on the road through Rastafari, going to shows with my father. So got into the music very early, as far back as I can remember. Ended up going to engineering school, Virginia Tech at the time, graduated with a degree and started in chemical engineering, graduated with a degree in mining and mineral processing engineering. I left Tech, came to the DC area, started working in civil engineering. The housing market crashed. I needed a gig. So somebody I went to school with started a technology company, an e-discovery company. And I got a job in IT, which is e-discovery is litigation, the technical side of the legal field. So anytime something goes to court or something like that, you got to get the evidence and everything together. So we do that forensically. So I got really, really adept at the legal side of things, the IT side of things, and technology. Worked in that for the past decade or more. Then realized one day in talking to a sister from Harlem that everything that I learned in the technical legal industry applied to the music industry or publishing, because to us it's it's our passion, it's what we love to do, but in reality we just a file on a database, and since you're just a file on the database, you have to be, how do I find you, how do I discover you on that database, and how do I know who to pay? So that's all done through metadata on the back end. So each of these files have information that's related to those files. And as an artist, as a creative, as someone who creates intellectual property, you should own all of your metadata, all of your identifiers. You know what I'm saying? So I help people do that. I help people set up record labels, actual commercial releases. Like a lot of us put out music. We'll put it on Bandcamp, we'll put it on DistroKid and Spotify, but that's just digital distribution. I teach you how to do an actual commercial release and how to have that commercial release counted so that so your plays and your sales can count toward a chart position, and also all of the various places you can get your money from. Because when we go through DistroKid, it gets up there fast, but they're only giving you digital sales. It's not your mechanical royalties. It's not your performance royalties. It's not your digital mechanical, your digital performance. We're giving away our intellectual property to these libraries, and we can get into those type of agreements ourselves. So I show people how to do that. And it doesn't matter if you're a musician, a poet, a comedian, a person who writes courses, you have intellectual property. And if you have intellectual property, you need to protect your intellectual property, own your metadata, which makes you discoverable. And if you do those two things, then you can be monetizable. We kind of work backwards. We want to get monetized first and then take all that. Nah, I don't work like that, So I help old school hip hop artists recover royalties, and reggae artists, and all of us who got screwed over, the creators creating creations for the creator. We got to protect them. You know what I'm saying? So that's my job.
Creating creations for the creator. Yeah.
Yes,
man.
I.
Have to be protected, man.
Yes, I.
So what you do is, and this is very important for people. So if you're an artist and you're creating your music, you want to go to Genesis, because what he's going to show you is a flow chart of what you need to do to be able to capitalize fully off of your intellectual property and your creation. He's going to show you how to walk through the copyrights, how to set yourself up as a publisher, right? You show people how to show. Can you just talk about that for a second? So
a lot of times they have us, well, long and short of it, artists don't get paid. Publishers get paid. You know what I'm saying? You want to license out your work, you have to be a publisher. You can be self-published, but in terms of publishing, there's two sides of it. There's the composer side, that's the artists, the producers, and the people who write. But there's also the publishing side. So you're leaving half the money on the table when you don't own a publishing company and you don't claim those parts of the royalties. And also as a publisher, you can engage in licensing agreements. So I have direct agreements with meta platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, Apple Music, Apple Fitness. all direct deals because I'm a publisher. So I try to tell people, you know, think of yourself as a publisher first. A publisher is the one who has the right to monetize, to say what goes on with the copyrights. So, you know, it behooves us as artists and creators to become publishers.
Excellent. And so, do you have a website where people can check you out?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat, but it's Osoboro Vision. That's OSAGBORO Vision VISION.com, OsoboroVision.com. You can kind of check out some of my services there. Honestly, if you're smart enough, you can read through and figure it out. But you know, I'm there to guide you through step by step. I'm
gonna share it right now for the people. So for y'all, you can even take a screenshot just to get the URL, OSAGBOROVision.com. So OSAGBROVISION.
Yes, sir.
.com, and he has it all set up, a nice orange backdrop, and he's telling you what the services are. And this is basically, it's a rights management tailored for creators, labels, and publishers. Can you just talk briefly about the money you've been able to get for like older artists and what that entails? And like, you could share a few anecdotes. You don't have to say, you can say the people's names, but the specific cases, you don't have to say their names because you might attach money to it. So, you know, you can just, you could tell that story as well, because I'm sure you got some crazy stories.
Yeah, some of them I can't speak toward. Like I sit on the board of the Jay Dilla Foundation, James DeWitt Yancey Foundation, you know, the hip hop producer Jay Dilla, and I see what goes on and what they do to us as artists. I've seen stuff going on with George Clinton, Funkadelic Parliament. They're publishing reggae band Midnight. Various hip hop artists. If you don't know, like I like dealing with old school hip hop artists because not a lot of them are aware that after 35 years, they can go back after their publishing, you know, but, you know, they get excited to do that, but you also have to have something to bring it to. So I help them set up their publishing companies and make sure that everything's straight so they can finally monetize. Either they can create new deals or take over the existing deals that they're in. So I've done that for like various hip hop artists and R&B groups, and, you know, just the education is the key part. You know, once you're educated on what's going on, once you understand that the copyright is the foundation of monetizing everything. Once you understand that, you know, 26,000+ songs come out a day, 93% of those songs are not copywritten. If those songs aren't copywritten, you'll never get a placement on like Facebook or anything like that. You have to have your business in order. You have to have split sheets. So, you know, I teach people what's required to actually monetize your intellectual property, you know. But it's a whole lot of people. I helped a brother who's been releasing reggae music for years, and he's done pretty well. But when he got with me, it was the first time he charted, because he's been releasing music for years, but there had never been a commercial release, and nobody was counting. So for the first time, he had an actual commercial release. He had actual Luminate counting the plays and the sales and everything, and he charted for the first time, Billboard charts. So it's not that hard to do because people aren't necessarily doing it correctly. So if you do it correctly, that's half the battle right there.
Okay,
my good brother, I just want to say that you were a godsend. We were actually on YouTube last night on my good brother 363 Empire. He has a viewership of about, Brother Rich, 500,000. We were doing a Clive Davis episode, and Blue Pill broke into the app that we've been putting together called Black Box, and it is in perfect. It's everything that you're speaking of. My good brother H Factor, he's been working on the technology. I also have a student that emailed me. He just put out a tool to help with, recovering all of the black box, the royalties. We were talking about how Clive was robbing the artists, like literally just sitting down every day. You know, imagine the fable Rumpelstiltskin, where they were basically spinning hair into gold. That's what they're doing with the IP. That's what they're doing with our ideas. Our ideas are like the hair that they spin into gold. So the fact that he's worth almost $1 billion in his demise and Clive Davis's death, I could easily see that a majority of that was his knowledge over the industry or the music business, and the lack of understanding or the lack of knowledge that the artists have, to whereas they'll walk into an entity owning 100% of themselves and then walk out of that entity owning 1% of themselves with basically a check that they owe interest on, and they say
Right.
that they've been signed to something. Oh, I sold my publishing, I got signed to a label. No, you incurred debt, you signed over your rights, you became a perpetual slave and whatnot.
That's
and
right.
You got jerked. Stop playing, stop acting like you did something. You didn't do anything. So we put out the wish that after the wicked witch of the East, you know, he's an archetype. Clive Davis was here. He's the one that set up a lot of these quote unquote slave deals and whatnot. He's been the architect in this matrix that has kept artists inside of these jars, inside of these boxes, basically in debt and in servitude. So we're praying for a rainbow, for a new day, and we're praying for information such as what you have and the structure that you've built to be implemented into this new wave of artists, because we have access to $1 billion, $1 trillion assets in terms of IP. You know, we got some
Right.
artists with catalogs that are priceless. And I also found out that they are training the AI with 7 of my songs, 46 of one of my collaborator songs. And I'm like, yeah, look at that. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's a good class action suit down the pipeline. However, you know, it just goes to show that we all have to get dressed for the party. We got to get our business right. And this is the brother that you're looking at right here, who is ready for you, and he will turn your hobby into a business, an
Yes,
income
indeed.
stream, a asset that accumulates wealth, and basically it's one of the few assets that appreciates in value over time.
That's right.
Do you also have a vehicle that deals with equity and any type of asset sharing when it comes to the music?
You know, I thought of that. I was dealing in the Web3 space for some time with NFTs and everything, and I kind of stepped away because it's kind of like the Wild West. They don't know
Yeah.
anything about property rights management.
Yes.
So I was trying to code a contract actually that would take into the proper allocations of royalties and things like that.
So I
But
would
yeah,
love to have a bill with you. Like I was asking the brother HERU, what day are we going to implement our first think tank? Because I feel that it's properly ready. I have a saying that my net worth is my net worth, and
right.
I feel more wealthier than Mr. Elon Musk. I call him Mr. Muskrat. But you know, pardon me, HERU. I don't mean to.
No, 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 no,
I
no,
know that.
no.
I know. You know, we beat
No,
up
I
on
don't.
our
I
we
don't.
beat
I
up on
don't.
our investments too.
No, no,
You
I
know,
don't. I'm
Mr.
not inviting.
Muskrat.
I'm not
Yeah,
inviting Elon Musk to dinner with me.
that's right.
But
Mr. Muskrat was
I
able
will
to
learn from
leverage.
the moves that he makes, though.
That's right. He's
That's right.
able to leverage his relationships. He's able to leverage his network, and he's showing anybody that's a serial entrepreneur some of the ways in which to do this. However, moving forward in this new quantum reality that we're in, I already know that the things that he was doing with the technology that he was utilizing, we're going to be able to tap into something that is far more superior, far more disruptive, and far more quote unquote far more to our moat. Like, we do have a moat. We definitely have a moat because we got 99 problems, and each one that we solve is $1 trillion worth. It's worth $1 trillion in and of itself. But yeah, I want to build with you, God. I got somebody that I want to link you with, a few people that will take your ideas into another level. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's go. No,
Right.
like Heru says, no better time than the now.
Right
And
on. I've been peeping the brother's work as an artist for years, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm already hip to, you know.
yes.
I want to give one more nugget to people though, man, that kind of hit my soul. Like artists, if once you copyright your work, and you publish your work with your PRO, performing rights organization, every time you go perform at a venue, you're able to claim performance royalties for that performance at the venue. It's on ASCAP, it's ASCAP Live. On BMI, it's BMI Live. So you perform at the venue, you'll give the show information, when the show was, and what was the ticket price, capacity, things of that nature. And you can get paid royalties for performing your own songs at your stage show. You don't even have to record and release the song. It just has to be a published song. So think about it as a lecturer or a comedian. If you copyright and publish your lectures and your jokes,
Right.
you can then collect performance royalties.
Right.
On
That's
every
what I
lecture.
want to talk to you about.
Man.
I want to talk to you about the syncs. I want to talk to you about taking all of my YouTube videos and publishing them. We are the publishing company. Everything that you were saying is in perfect alignment with Blue Pill and H Factor built out over the last 2 years with KTL Plus. So Blog Talk Radio episodes, everything that I have on Spotify streaming. That's why I send all of my audio to Spotify from these long form videos that I'm doing and whatnot, so we could get all of the publishing for that. And I open it up with a song and I close it with a song. So that's also being spun as well. So instead of me going to the DSPs, I'm getting more spins off of me putting an intro song and an outro song on these videos that may do average 5,000 to 10,000 and whatnot, but it's compounded because I'm doing 4 to 5 long form videos a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of ways to monetize, but I love to break them down for you, you know?
Oh man, I heard it was 30 plus. So yeah. I'm gonna pull up a chair with my notebook and we're gonna turn this thing up, because as my audience knows, I've been resilient with not putting my music on DSPs. I've been resilient teaching them about the ISPC codes and whatnot. I've been resilient about just controlling my catalog. I'm like, nah, I ain't that pressed. I don't need nobody paying me in pennies and whatnot. And I don't need to be streaming. I don't need that. I would rather people hear about my projects and don't know where to get it, or know where to get it and it's rare, than to be all over streaming. And once again, they just showed me the other day, they took 7 of my songs and trained the AI. If I put my catalog on there, it would have been 70 songs. But because I only put the Red Summer on there, they was able to take a few of those songs. But that's all good, because I know that the majority of my classics, I control that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that streaming thing is the devil is in the details, man. You know what I'm saying? It's they sell the dream of celebrity and fame to us. They sell streams that are only worth fractions of a cent. They sell social media, algorithms and things like that. Like I ran an experiment last year where I released 2 projects. One was direct to consumer, and the other was through one of the third-party aggregators. What I learned is I made way more money off the direct-to-consumer, way more. The one that was off the third-party aggregator had a lot more user-generated content that was built up, so that was cool. But I came up with a perfect way to have the best of both worlds, how to distribute only to the social media platform so people could create content, but have them come to me as the point of sale.
Right. We implemented the 1,000 fan theory back in 2014, I believe, and ran through Bandcamp. You know what I mean? We were using Bandcamp as a platform, but we had the theory from reading up through Wired magazine and whatnot. What's my dude's name? Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, and the 100 fan theory was an Asian lady, but it was done through the guy who he came up with a book called The Long Tail. There it goes. Woo! The Long Tail is a must read. Anybody is dealing with digital money, you got to read The Long Tail. So it broke down the 1,000 fan theory. We implemented that. We were using Ning at that time, Ning, right?
Yeah.
So we were using Ning as the 1,000 fan theory apparatus. And we've been implementing that over the years. But every single one of our projects, we've made sure that we cross the 1,000 fans or the 1,000 supporters and whatnot, and making them super fans, not just a regular purchase of the album. You getting merch. You feel me? You're basically following us through our journey and whatnot. We want to 10x the 1,000 fan theory using these tools that we have now, to whereas each artist will have a certified 10,000 fans, utilizing blockchain, of course, and crypto wallets to lock them in. Smart contracts, blockchain, and the crypto wallet. So I need to build with you immediately. We need to, they want you back on the show. I automatically thought of a panel that I want to have with you on, with some of the experts, so we could break the chains. I just don't want to, smoke blunts of Clive Davis and whatnot, and put them in the air. I also want to dismantle the systems that he put together. So I'm putting Larry Jackson on trial. I'm putting Lyra Cohen on trial. I'm putting Clive Davis on trial. Those were the people who brought up these slave systems, these demonic, quote unquote, soul capturing systems. Angie Stone, Phyllis Hyman, Whitney Houston, James Brown, Prince, Michael Jackson, all of the people that were rallying against these demons and these, quote unquote, these robber barons. We are going to disrupt this industry. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, HERU, for even bringing him through and thinking about him and aligning this purpose. But yeah, this is a DCA Wednesday.
Right on.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful, and if I can expose more people to the brother Genesis, the world will be a better place. I have access to him whenever I want. Me and the brother, we have a good brotherhood together, and I just want to make sure that other people can access him as well. So it's a beautiful thing, And like I said, man, the brother is a good brother, and his goodness is equal to his intelligence, and so I just want to make sure that all of y'all, if you're in the arts world and you're doing music, you got to have a consultation with Genesis. Sit down and just chop it up with him, because he's going to show you the maze you have to go through, from the creation of your music to the monetization and all the different ways you can monetize it properly. Basically, what a record label does to make money for them, he's going to show you how you can make money for yourself by using all of the knowledge that record labels have, and turn yourself into a record label and your own publisher, so that we keep that wealth, at home. So yeah, Brother Genesis is definitely one of our important people that you all need to know about. And we can, have a whole show just dedicated to what Genesis does, and people can call in, and maybe what we could do is announce it a week before, where we can have all of the artists, all of the musicians tune in to Wealth Wednesdays, and you'll be able to call in and literally ask Genesis questions. And then, these are basic questions he can answer for you, but if you need things to, be structured and put in place, then, you all can have your own sidebar conversations. But I think it'd be very beneficial for people to hear the interactions between artists and Genesis, and he's going to teach you, like, step by step. Okay, you need to copyright this. Okay, you need to deal with the Harry Fox agency, or you set up your own agency that looks like Harry Fox, that deals with the publishing. This is what ASCAP does. Here's how you can set up your own system aside from ASCAP, or whatever it is. Brother Genesis is going to be able to tell you, so that we'll be able to forensically track, if you sell $1 online, what's the money that's coming to you, and what's the money coming to everyone else, which is what every artist should know.
That's right.
Every artist should know that every dollar that someone gives for the enjoyment of your music, you should know how that dollar is separated. Who's it going to? How much is going to Harry Fox? How much is going to ASCAP? How much is going to this company? How much is going to that company? Every artist should know this before they put their music into the marketplace. And Genesis is going to be able to tell you all of this, okay? So that's my service that I, did for the people, just to expose people to Brother Genesis, man.
What about a DCA calculator for your music? A dollar cost average calculator that deals with, so let's say that my music is selling at the pace of $99 a day. Can I get a DCA calculator, and can I get a DCA agent that will put 20% of my daily earnings of my 100 songs that are streaming on my platform underneath either a stable coin, a creator coin, or some form of tokenized, expression. And then I can have a liquidity pool, but I have something that's, I have an agent, I have a DeFi agent or whatnot, and it's breaking up all of the income that I'm getting. Like you have your catalog of your poetry, right? Good brother.
Yeah.
Right. So we reintroduce your catalog into a platform that is not a streaming platform. It's a platform where you're getting literally 90% of your earnings and whatnot. And that is being broken up. You know what I mean? Pay for play. It's like a pay for play. It's part of a gamified. So we have a gamified game like a tokenized run, right? Like we have a Farmville or we have something on a mobile app. Your song is baked in, right? So as your song being baked in, you're getting credits every day. You're getting tokens every day as your song plays. The same way they're about to go crazy for Grand Theft Auto. We have our own form of gamified mobile apps and whatnot. And then you are now DCA price cost is probably even linked up to the Cash App MCP or Cash App API and whatnot, and it could automatically just put it right into the pool.
You right up Genesis's alley.
Yeah.
Right now. You are right. You and Genesis need to caucus and sit down, because I'm gonna tell you this. None of this is theory. So I'm just gonna tell you this, because Genesis is very, very humble. And maybe I need to be his marketing manager, because you see what you said, Red Pill?
Yes.
A lot of people might have to like rewind what you said. But I'm gonna tell you right now, everything that you said, Genesis knows how to do. And the reason why I'm saying that is because with Forex charts, Genesis was able to write a coding program to be able, based on the rules that have been developed on trading, he's able to actually give me a compiling, like he was able to write a compiling code that all I do is just like basically click a button, and he's able to tell me, it's able to tell me all of the Forex pairs that are within 3% of where I need it to be to make a trading decision. Let's put it that way. And so Genesis developed this, and he did it in about 24 hours.
Right.
And people don't know how valuable
we got
is.
The tools. Genesis
He has
knows.
the tools and the knowledge to be able to do, and the understanding to be able to do. So everything you talked about in terms of even like I mean, it's a great idea to gamify, your intellectual property. So therefore, like it becomes like almost like a electronic game for a musician that like I've done this, and this is the amount of money that can come to me if I was to sell, let's say, $10,000 worth online. And this is what I would actually get out of that $10,000. And what you're trying to do as the artist is you're trying to get as much as that $10,000 coming to your pockets as possible. And Genesis will show you how to do it. It'll show you how to license your music so you can get licensed into movies. You can get licensed, because that's where the real money is at, what they call synchronization rights. Right. And so, I mean, he can talk about all of that, Right. Genesis, please comment.
The whole streaming thing is a scam, man. Like I said, as a publisher,
like Spotify and all that.
Yeah, it's a scam. As a publisher, I am licensing my music to your music library. So that means every ad that runs, every subscriber, every app purchase, I get a piece of that without having to have streams or anything like that. I'm licensing my intellectual property to you. That has nothing to do with a stream. Streams is extra. But just at the base is me licensing my intellectual property for use on your platform, which is monetized in whatever way. I'm due some of that.
Right. That's why they jerking everybody at the gate. You know what I mean? It is a crime against humanity what they're doing with the streaming business. But when we say streaming, we also have to implement that there's a streaming business model that does work, and that's Kick, and that's Twitch, and that's the young streamers. Now, what's not being factored in by a lot of the elders is the fact that they have a built-in audience with the video game kids, So they are literally sitting around waiting to blow up anything that puts in front of them if it is a streaming video game. So if you could create something that's gamified in the form of a video game, you have millions of people for free advertisement. You have millions of kids that will freely advertise and push you. Now, if you focus on a niche like black gamers and black gamers from the hood and black gamers from the hood that want to get money, right? Now you have a completely bigger niche. If you focus on the hip hoppers, if you focus on hip hop in America or hip hop from a global scale, now you have now they got money, they got time, and they growing up.
Yep.
They're getting older and whatnot. So you literally can lock in with them right now and rock out with them for 10 years straight if you build something that is going to get them some money, get them level them up, help them learn some things, and boss them up in life. So as adults, we are going into uncharted territory because that's their world. That's not our world. But we can walk into their world because we have what they don't have: experience, intellect, resources, networks, and whatnot. We supposed to be Rockstar Games. They're the audience. We are Rockstar Games. So where's our Rockstar gameplay at?
Well, excuse me, brothers. I got my Microsoft Teams going off the hook now. They got me knee deep in data. You know, I'm trying to free myself from this plantation. So I always appreciate the info.
Build, y'all.
For sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's great. And yeah, I just want to introduce people to y'all to Genesis, and we're gonna have him back on this show. We'll have a special show for monetization of music just for musicians. We'll do that in the next couple of weeks, and Genesis will come on. And if you're a musician, you're an artist, it's your time to call in and ask questions. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. And Brother Red Pill, I got a question for you. Did we drop too much game for one show today?
Man, we dropped it like it was hot, brother. Oh my goodness. This one right here, somebody even said it in the comments. This is Wealthy Gems Day, not Wednesday, Gems Day. Because this thing right here, this shit is like the Diamond District, how many gems was dropped. But I'm taking the transcript, I'm gonna run it through the AI and squeeze all of the juice out of it. I'm gonna create a smoothie out of this. Trust me. But yeah, man, I appreciate all of the intellects, you intelligent brothers and sisters out there. You we are on the road, man. Summer 2026 starting off with a bang. So let's keep cooking. And yeah, man, peace, love, and light to the family. We'll see you later on in class. Get Money Workshop week 3. We'll see you there. Peace.
Excellent, y'all. Take care. We put in a good 4 hours for y'all of value today. So we'll be back next Monday with Healthy Mondays. Okay. And we'll cover some more of these important topics. So tune in on Monday, 9 a.m., same BAT channel, same BAT stations. And we're going to be giving y'all some serious information to change your lives. Again, those people who said they want to reach me, just go to herbalresults.net and go to the contact page. The email is info@herbalresults.net. If you have health-related questions, if you've got wealth-related questions, you can reach me at info@herutrades.com. So those are 2 websites, herutrades.com for wealth information, and for health information, go to herbalresults.net. All right. See y'all next Monday. Bless up, and bless up, Brother Genesis, for joining us.
Yes, I give thanks and praise.
All right. Bless.